The penultimate race of the 2023 Integrity Octane Series season brings us back to the paperclip. Short track racing and elimination night, and with 2 races left in the tour, it will only be 4 drivers chasing a championship. We head to Phoenix. Tonight, though, we find out who those 4 drivers will be, as this is the Race for the Cure 250, a 125-mile feature here at the Martinsville Speedway. Right now, Cody Smith finds himself on the pole position with Tom Wetmore then second, and Sam Needle currently scored 3rd on the timing sheets. Great to have you all once again live on FTN. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Droitz. It's been a thrilling 2023 campaign, and now with this race and our season finale at Phoenix, all that is left. Very little time stands in between where we are now and the end of this tour. It's been a great 28 complete races so far. This is our 29th of which 16 drivers of the 18 who are registered have taken the time so far, and we're waiting only now on Randy Fiash and John Steele. Going back to Seth Well, who finds himself 16th. Seth is going to come across the stripe once again. 19.4 puts him up to the pole, and the only driver currently locked into your final 4 once again at the top of the chart. So Seth Well, who does not have to worry about tonight, is in the 1st position right now. Cody Smith is 2nd, and Tom Wetmore is currently in 3rd, going down to the inside groove on pit road. Minute and a half remaining, as it's been all season long. The drivers marked in blue on your timing screen, of course the timing ticker and driver information, they are still in the championship race. For those who are not in the championship battle, right now Cody Smith has been the class of the field. He's in red, and all the drivers who are not eligible for the championship are marked in red tonight. And there's a special bonus on the line for drivers who are not currently in the playoff picture. So for Cody Smith and all the other drivers who are labeled in red tonight, they can come home with $20 if they finish ahead of the other drivers in their class. So the winning goal for a guy like Cody Smith, not only to win the race overall like he did at Kentucky, but also to be ahead of all of his non-playoff contemporaries, as he can find himself with a $20 cash bonus at the end of the night. 34 seconds remaining here in qualifying. Cody Smith we're looking at with Seth Well, the fastest man, and for all intents and purposes, qualifying has concluded. No other driver going to set a fast lap. Smith is taken around for extra practice times. Rest of your field, 16 of which have taken a lap, and 2 in the back of the field opt not to get out there on the circuit. Qualifying has concluded. The number 9 machine of Seth Well, already locked into the final 4, is your pole sitter, with Cody Smith rounding out the front row. And as the checkered flag falls on qualifying here, you'll see Cody Smith disappear from your screen. And as the crowd populates here in the virtual Martinsville Speedway, time to give ourselves 5 more minutes before the elimination race here in the round of 8. 16 drivers have been bumped up to 18, with drivers still registering as we speak. Have ourselves a packed crowd, and it's going to be the virtual fans watching here at Martinsville as John Steele kicks off your second practice. 5 minutes on the board for drivers to take additional time. But while we have some time, how's about we take a look at our overall qualifying grid for tonight's event. This is the Race for the Cure 250, and without further ado, this is your starting grid for the penultimate race of the 2023 Tour. And at the top of the board, as we mentioned, the only driver currently advancing on what he's done so far, Seth Well, the only driver playing it fully safe. He is locked into the final 4, 19.44 for the man on the pole position. Then Cody Smith is going to be second, 1/10 off of your driver in the pole, and it's a 19.541 for Cody as he puts himself on the front row, the highest position of any of our playoff spoilers. Tom Wetmore and Sam Needle, both drivers who are above the cut right now, find themselves on the second row. Tom Wetmore 3rd with a 19.57, and 3/1000ths of a second behind. Sam Needle puts himself there in 4th. Close competition up in front with Don Stevenson rounding out the top 5, and Don's going to be there with 19.595. Nick Tarbuck is only 100th of a second behind. Tarbuck there 6th place with a 19.605, position number 6. Jacob Fife going to be 7th, and he's the final driver on the bubble as we speak tonight. He's above the cut line in 4th, but he does not have a lot of wiggle room. He'll need a fantastic night to really seal the deal, as a Jacob Fife starting in 7th with a 19.688. Guillermo Alvarez is going to be starting 8th place with a 19.736. 9th place is going to be Ross Cato, 19.747. and Dalton Didman will round out the top 10 in the 04. Didman there with a 19.781. For the remainder of the field, it goes as follows. It's going to be after the driver in that number 09. Nicholas Ward's going to be 11th, with Eric McFarland then in 12th, and Kyle Cooper is going to be 13th, the first driver above 20 seconds on the lap. Going to be Jorge Canales 14th with a 20.064. And then 15th goes to Alan Rowell with Luis Caballero 20.59 to be 16th on the qualifying grid. 16 drivers have taken the time. That leaves Randy Fiash with no qualifying effort. 17th place for Fiash, and finally 18th place goes to John Steele, the final of 18 drivers to register for tonight's event. 18 will take on the penultimate race of the Octane Series season. This is the Race for the Cure 250, and this is your starting grid. And as drivers limp down a pit road that time by, it's the Shelby Cobra number 2 that we're watching of Sam Nito, one of the 4 drivers currently above the cut line as we speak. So for Sam, I'm not going to be too worried. He's just got to hit his marks and stay up in front of his contemporaries right now. As we have a bit of time, here's a look at your overall points table as we speak. You'll see that number 9 machine of Seth Noel, the man who's locked in, indicated in gold. He's got the best case scenario in play tonight, and the rest of the drivers behind him, Sam Nito with 32 points, comfortably ahead. Tom Wetmore, though, and Jacob Fife, 9 up and 5 up, respectively. Don Stevenson only 5 positions back. Caitlin Height doesn't look to be here, so her championship run will come to an end here and now with Ross Cato, 7th place, 13 down, and Nick Tarbuck, the outside shot, looking for a win. He'll try to make it happen with a checkered flag, and he got it oh so close against Cody Smith, 1,000th of a second last night, and now looking to go back-to-back here in the Octane Series. It'll be his second win of 23, and it was a huge run to the finish for Nick Tarbuck and Cody Smith. 1,000th of a second separating your top 2 guys at the end of the day. It's a hell of a finish then, and Nick would love to have one more win here and now to keep that championship run alive. It's going to be Seth Well getting lucky with a fantastic, of course, run. Not necessarily a lucky, it was a great effort that he, of course, deserved to win, but at the same time, it's a lot of luck to have that advantage and not have to pay attention to this race. Paying attention, of course, you gotta pay attention every race, but for Seth, it's a little different. He's already locked into the Final Four. All eyes, all effort. He's going to be going to Phoenix now, and that season finale is going to be make or break for the 4 drivers who make it in there, no matter who they are. And now, 14 seconds remain on your timing sheets. Tom Wetmore is going to be the fastest man of which, and for Wetmore looking still for win number 6 on the season, he'd love to get it here and now and seal the deal once again. The Tube Tech Chevrolet fastest here in timing. It's Tom Wetmore, the number 51, as second practice has concluded from Martinsville. And now, with qualifying and warm-up past us, Tom Wetmore, the fastest man in second practice, and Shelton Ponder, the chat, great to have you aboard. It's going to be another fantastic night of Octane Series racing, 250 miles. And given the car count we have tonight, expecting a lot of green flag running lap after lap, hoping to see all the attrition and short track racing come into play. Martinsville last season, and not in the Octane Series, but instead in the NASCAR Cup Series, gave us a fantastic race to the elimination round into our championship. That's coming up very soon for the NASCAR Cup Series, so keep an eye out if you're a stock car racing fan, because Ross Chastain, of course, the Hail Melon, came here at this track. A last-ditch attempt to ride the wall, make it around, and at the stripe, Ross Chastain barely made it into the Final Four. More of a disappointing run for him in the playoffs this year. I was a bit surprised to see our Final Four contender who came second in points last season, not even inside the top 10 of the championship this year. But of course, a rebound year for Chastain could be 2024. He's already got a sight set on another chance at a title. Now, putting the real world aside, getting back to the picture here, the Octane Series and the Ignite Series alike are in their infancy, coming after, of course, the expansion of the Integrity Racing League, and this is a first-time opportunity for anyone here in this race. Doesn't matter if you're a driver who's experienced with this league, a rookie, anything in between. Veterans and rookies alike have a chance to break through, per se. We have not seen it at all in Integrity Racing League history. 11 years of competition since 2012 and doing sim racing right all throughout. The Octane Series is a newfound concept, and the Final Four picture has not been used. So with that in mind, Seth Noel already understands where he will be. Cody Smith up top, he's looking to become the playoff spoiler who wins the $20 bonus. And Tom Wetmore also going to be right there. Wetmore, Nito, Fife. They need to maintain position. For Don Stevenson, Nick Tarbuck, and of course Ross Cato, they need to gain position. It's going to be a mix of drivers who need to go up the field and those drivers who need to hold it up at the head of the field. That's going to be make or break tonight. Wetmore 9 points above the bubble. Jacob Fife 5 up ahead. But for Seth Noel, your poster tonight here in the paperclip, he's good to take him to the green flag in the race for the Cure 250. Back underway for the final time in the short track. Seth leads us through, and we're here, and we're green in Virginia. And as the drivers get on their way, early start and a clean start, mostly single file to this point. Your leader, Seth Noel, maintains that advantage at a number 9 machines out in front with Cody Smith, runner-up man. Guillermo Alvarez is going to miss the race's start. He opts to go down a pit road, and just like that, going to be the driver, the number 83, 18th and last for the time being. So Alvarez is going to be way back in the pack here. Seth Noel, your leading driver, and that's the way they are so far. Mostly single file, no major movements, but Nick Tarbuck knows if he wants to make anything happen with this race tonight, he's got to make big movements here and now. Tarbuck, Ross Cato alike, both in a very similar position, 7th and 8th respectively. Ross Cato is going to be 7th right now, and that number 12 holding up all throughout the season very well. The one thing he's been lacking, that race victory. Of all the drivers inside of our final 8, he is the one man who's really missed out on that race victory. Seth Noel, Sam Nito, Tom Wetmore, Jacob Fife are also all multi-race winners. Those are the guys inside of your final 4 right now. Don Stevenson, he's come through once. He came home at the Roval with a dominant finish, and now we see the caution fly for Alan Rawell, already backwards, single file incident. It's going to be, looks like the 43 only man involved. Caution's out, 6 laps in, and we got ourselves pacing for the first time tonight. And Rawell is going to get back going here. Looks like a lot of trouble getting back on the way, but Alan's going to be good to go, and it looks like minor damage, if anything. Alan Rawell involved to bring out the first caution of the night. It looks like he's going to overshoot it into turns 1 and 2. A little bit of trouble immediately, and a 43 snaps loose, brings out the caution. Luckily, nobody else involved. That's a safety yellow, because if the leaders were coming around as they were, that could have been a big risk. And you'll see, even though Seth Noel was only in turns 1 and 2 by the time Rawell went around, they almost catch up to him. That's how much it takes to get through in this narrow circuit. Because imagine that's a race pace. They'd be barreling into the 43 without thinking twice. 8 laps in, luckily that is not the case, and we'll be back under pacing for the first time of the night. Rawell, the lapper, going to lead the field right now, but for all intents and purposes, it's Seth Noel, Cody Smith, Tom Wetmore, your podium. As it stands, all 18 drivers that took to the green flag are on the lead lap. Guillermo Alvarez, despite missing the start of the race, has made some gains up to 15th, as Jorge Canales and Luis Caballero all go down a pit road at the same time. So strategy already going to be in motion, not to mention Rawell getting some damage. Caution flies 9 laps in of 250. Seth Noel, your leading man, Cody Smith then second, Tom Wetmore third, and Sam Nito, position number 4. Don Stevenson, you round out the top 5 with Jacob Fife then in 6th and Ross Cato 7th. That's the way they've gone. So far, so good, up in front. As the field flies around, coming out on a double-digit laps, 9 laps in, and it is, as always, on FTN. Lap 9 brought to you in part by our friends at Tango Paints. Lap 109 and Lap 9 alike brought to you by Tango Paints, your one-stop shop for iRacing paint schemes and liveries for the prices you can't beat and the paint schemes you can't beat either. It's an unstoppable deal at Tango Paints, so check them out on Twitter today. It's Tango Paints. It's Exactly how you see it on the top right of your screen. Tango paints, no spaces, no nothing. Just the best in the business when it comes to iRacing paint schemes and liveries. No matter what you race, when you race it, or where you race it, Tango Paints has you covered. Check out Tango Paints on Twitter today as we'll bring you a brief promotional break courtesy of our friend Tolo and the entire Tango Paints team. And back again, 11 laps in of 250. It's going to be Noel, Cody Smith, and Tom Wetmore. 1, 2, 3. Sam Nito 4th, and Don Stevenson, position number 5. That's the top 5 as it stands here in the race for the Cure 250. And as we've gone all throughout the month of October, breast cancer awareness has been the theme. And as we've seen with a lot of these drivers, namely Don Stevenson in particular, a lot of drivers going through with the breast cancer theme awareness all throughout October. That's been our monthly sponsor here in the Integrity Racing League. First restart of the day, Seth Noel dives deep and has that race lead with Cody Smith not too far behind. Coming around this time through 12 in at a 250. Make that a baker's dozen. Seth Noel leads the way. Cody Smith then going to be right behind. Take a look on board now with the number 9 machine already defense in play, gaining a bit more time. And then we'll take a look here, looking for the back end of the number 9 machine. How about we take a lap on board and find out what's going on? Well, what's going on now is a caution. Yellow flags out for the second time back of the field. And it's Ronwell, not to mention Alvarez, Caballero, and Randy Fiash, all going to be going around at the same time. Back of the field, Calamity once more, and the caution's going to be out once more indeed. Second caution of the night. So far, so good for the front runners. Back, though, not so much. You see Randy Fiash is going to get down to the bottom, come up the track. Luis Caballero also going to do the same. So a few drivers making the same mistake. Coming through this time by Caballero, Fiash. Looks like Guillermo Alvarez nearly getting caught up in it. And just like that, yellow flag back out in the air. 15 laps in, some back of the field drivers once again bringing out the yellow. Looks like Trouble's 15th on back. Ever since then, of course, the drivers hoping to keep it going up in front, but not getting that green flag racing opportunity. 16 laps in of 250, so waiting a bit more to get that action on the move. Seth Noel still leads from Cody Smith. It's going to be Tom Wetmore 3rd and Sam Nito then in 4th. Top 5 rounded out by Don Stevenson to this point. One, 2, the 9, and 18 have been all throughout the night. First and second, and of course not a lot of time. But as it stands, 3rd, Wetmore still pouncing. Sam Nito 4th, Don Stevenson 5th, Jacob Fife then going to be in 6th, and then of course Ross Cato then in 7th. Nick Tarbuck going to be 8th, and Nicholas Ward then in 9th. Top 10 routed up by Kyle Cooper right now with Colin Goodman then in 11th. That's the way they've run 17 laps in of 250, and they'll come around this time by double file, set for a restart. Now, set to go at it once more. How about we take a look at the back of the field once again? Pit road gets busy. Randy Fiash going to be right down low. He's on pit road. Caballero, Jorge Canales coming through at the same time. Alan Rawell opts to go up to the top. Alan Rawell going to find himself back in the way. The spam number 43. That's going to be 14th place right now for the driver of that number 43 machine. And some troubles early, and of course involved in the first caution. But since that point, not bad at all. So getting away for that other incident, and either way, Rawell's got a lot of work to do. Race for the Cure 250. He's still got time as Nicholas Ward goes down to pit road and has some trouble. Looks like he's disconnected from the session. Seth Noel is going to let us go once again. Second restart through and through. Noel going to be first. Cody Smith second. Tom Wetmore third. And Sam Needle then in fourth. Let's get it through. This time by for restart number 2 in the day. 18 laps in. The 18 of Cody Smith gets the jump. Wetmore already spinning. We're under yellow again. Just like that, Tom Wetmore going to lose an awful lot of time. This could be make or break here, given the field size. We're not quite sure how much of an implication that is. Wetmore went around for a lazy 360, and now back for a loop. Wetmore going to bring out the third yellow flag. Let's see what in specific caused it here. Definitely finding some contact for Tom. Look around once more and find out what happened. So as Wetmore gets rolling off, you see Don Stevenson going to get hit from Ross Cato, and Stevenson cannot hold off. Then looks like John Steele gets in. So does Tom Wetmore. Back bumper going to be there for the number 51. Hits the wall just a bit, and just like that, Tube Tech Chevrolet finds himself 15th, losing an awful lot of track position. 15th place, Tom Wetmore. And the 51 fades way back now with Seth Noel leading, Cody Smith second, and Sam Needle then in third. First, second, third, it's going to be the same of the front runners, of course, save for Tom Wetmore. Wetmore fades way back. Nicholas Ward disconnects once again to internet troubles. He has had a hell of a lot of trouble all throughout the season when it comes to connection, of course. That number 97, trouble once again. And a short track like Richmond, he had a lot of speed at. And eventually ended up disconnecting from the race lead. Just was not able to keep things going there. And once again, Ward, who's been fast all season long, nearly won at Bristol, is again out on connection trouble. So we'll hopefully see Nicholas Ward come back. 3 yellow flags in the first 21 laps. So a lot of things going his way if he wants to get back on the circuit here, because we've had a lot of yellow flag laps in succession. Maybe he'll be back there, maybe under 5 laps down. We don't quite know how quick he'll get back on there. Looks like he's been off the track for 3 laps. And that's the way it's going to be once again for Ward as the caution flies. One potential retiree did not manually disconnect, so we could see Nicholas get back on the track. Randy Fiash going to be on pit road, and he gets back on the way. Tom Wetmore's still there, and since Wetmore, of course, finds himself with trouble early, he'll opt to take the first set of 5 pit road tires he's got at his disposal. Tire set limit of 5 tonight, so looks like drivers already getting to work with them. Wetmore going to take his first set, knowing how much time he's already lost. Why not give yourself an advantage, as with 2 laps to go this time by Seth Noel. Cody Smith still first and second. For the Napa Auto Parts number 9 machine, the Napa know-how for Seth Noel has been fantastic all year long. Once again, our yellow here, 23 laps in, and he's been doing a hell of a job all season long. Going back to, of course, him in the championship 4, seemed like a no-doubter, but locking it in early, which no other driver seemed to be able to do, that's the big, big advantage. Of course, Cody Smith playing playoff spoiler when it came to Kentucky, that was unexpected, and eventually the number 9 machine came home on top in victory lane. And once again, Seth Noel proving, despite some troubles with the ovals all season long, he has still been the class of the field. And as he's seen, rivalry with Tom Wetmore, those 2 drivers competing for wins week after week. Wetmore having a few more troubles throughout this playoff run, came in as the odds-on favorite after winning at Bristol, which is a regular season finale, and now he finds himself 12th place right now. Not the worst of positions to be in. Of course, minor damage if anything, but losing track position in an already caution-heavy race, not good in any sense. So Seth Noel going to lead him through this time by 24 laps in. Bring him on to lap 25 here. It's Noel, Smith, Nito. 1, 2, 3 as the green flag flies once more. It's going to be Seth Noel back on the move. Make it lap 25. And at the stripe, looks like it's going to be all good. All green this time around. We'll get through without any trouble. Guillermo Alvarez back in the field, looks to be in check. Side by side between Ross Cato and Kyle Cooper. Nothing much going on in the rear of the field right now. To this point, no major troubles. 26 laps in at a 250. Guillermo Alvarez going to be right there. Side by side is going to be Tom Wetmore and Eric McFarland. Wetmore drops to the bottom. Eric McFarland going to remain high. And the 33 machine, no choice but to run to the top as Colin Gidman's got issues, and Gidman will spin, brings out the caution as well. Gallon, Gidman, yellow flag is out, 27 laps into 250, and the caution flies once more. Fourth incident of the night. Gallon, Gidman, a single car spin, and the caution's out yet again. Nicholas Ward just reconnected, but there's going to be a trouble that brings it now 28 laps in under caution for the fourth instance. And for Gallon Gidman, big troubles once again. 17th place right now. He's fighting with Tom Wetmore, trying to stay in front. Wetmore can give him a shove, though, and that's going to be contact, what brings out the yellow flag. Gidman trying to hold on just within the top 10 range. He was in 9th at the time of the caution. Now fades back to the back of the field. 28 laps in of 250. Gidman once again going to be involved in a caution, but for the first time tonight, he's been, and unfortunate for Gallon, but it's been track position up and down for a lot of drivers. So no stranger to incidents so far. Martinsville has given us a few beat and bang moments, and 29 laps in of 250, cautions out yet again. Fourth yellow flag of the day, having quite a few already, 4 in 29 laps. So we're not seeing many long green flag runs. The longest of which we saw was about 5 laps. Otherwise, it's been yellow flag after yellow flag in succession, which hasn't given us a lot of racing action to speak of. As long as Seth Noel, Cody Smith, Sam Nito, Jacob Fife, as long as they keep hitting their marks on the restarts, they're fine. And they just have to keep doing what they've been doing all throughout the night, which is making that restart work and then just coasting from there. You have not need to really work it hard from there on out. Don't kill your resources, burn up your tires, use up too much fuel. That first jump, the initial jump, has been the most important all throughout to this point. And for the leaders, first 30 laps have been almost a gimme. You've got these out the way. Now you've got, what, 220 laps to play with, if not even less than that. That's when it's going to become more important. Of course, lap 125, your halfway point on the night, we do have a stage caution. That is, of course, going to be mentioned as well. We'll have it around the lap 100 mark, so we are going to have a scheduled caution despite the yellow flags we already had, which means the minimum total of yellow flags we'll have today is 5. Now, expecting more the way things have gone, hopefully it's not at the pace we've been getting cautions, because the way things are going, we'll have more like 25, which is not what we want to see in the slightest here, as 31 laps in of 250. This is your fourth yellow flag of the day, and Seth Noel still leads Cody Smith with minimal action on pit road this time by Guillermo Alvarez down to pit road, and a lot of drivers going back and forth repeatedly. So for the guys outside of the top dozen, they've come in multiple times over, getting more fuel, maybe even getting themselves a refreshed set of tire. That's been the motion so far down to pit road as the Frosted Flakes number 83 returns on the track. And coming down to pit road, once again, Alvarez does, and we're set for another restart here. It's going to be Seth Noel down low, Cody Smith up top. Given the circumstance, no trues rule in effect here. The leader dictates everything. He'll go low, and the rest of the field goes as follows. High for Cody Smith, low for Sam Nito, high for Jacob Fife, so on and so forth, and that's the way they run. 32 out of 250. The iRacing official pace car is side by side once again right behind it. It's going to be your fourth restart of the night. Nancy Wetmore in the chat room, great to have you aboard here. Tom Wetmore looking to fight back after an incident or two. Spun early, then most recently involved with Gallon Gidman, a bit of a punt and shove as those two drivers go back and forth, and Seth Noel gets the green flag. Restart number 4, back on the move. Nice jump there for the driver of the number 9 machine. Seth Noel leads it. Cody Smith then second. Sam Nito third. Jacob Fife is in fourth. Stevenson's going to round out the top 5 so far, as Tom Wetmore's already making charges. And as we mentioned, when it comes to our playoff situation, Tom Wetmore's third right now entering this race. He's 9 points behind. Of course, when it comes to a driver ahead of him, which would be in this instance Sam Nito, but he's 9 points up on the cut line, and that's exactly where he wants to maintain it, if not increase his status, because right now he does have Jacob Fife as a buffer, and Fife needs a great night. He's only 5 points up. When it comes to the picture right now for Jacob Fife, it's very shaky for him. Single digits ahead for Fife and Wetmore respectively. Tom finds himself 9 points ahead, and Jacob Fife 5. With a good run right now from Don Stevenson and Nick Tarbuck respectively, the caution is due to fly once again, and that it will. Alvarez is going to be away from it, but his teammate Jorge Canales is not. Caution flies for the 5th time today. Yellow's out 36 laps in of 250. and the yellow flag out. Another incident that does not bring a lot of damage, but still brings us back into pacing. Cautions out once more. Jorge Canales involved. Looks like he gets off the worst of it, with Luis Caballero going to be down. It looks like down a pit road. Take a look once again as Caballero's going to go down to the number 91's inside line. And you'll see as Caballero's on the bottom, Alvarez gets loose and he's going to get hit by Nicholas Ward. Ward, who's already had trouble 6 laps down, has more contact, and a bad night so far for Nicholas Ward. Going to have even more trouble now. He's going to get the opportunity to get around the leaders once again, wave himself back a few laps and get back with the lead lappers because of connection troubles, but damage, not all the connection he'd like to be making. Just like that, Ward, 18th place, is 6 laps down. Jorge Canales comes down to pit road in 16th place, and Luis Caballero is there in 17th and finds himself now back with the leading pack, looking to get back on the lead lap here as Seth Noel leads them. Cody Smith is second, Sam Nito is third, and Jacob Fife is then in fourth. And early troubles have given us a long race to look ahead to here, and 38 laps in, 5 cautions, and once again a very early yellow flag. I mean, it's tough to see this happen successively for these drivers because the final 4 in mind, points races are substantial here in the Octane Series, especially now. Not only the best of the rest prize, which is $20, which right now would be going to Cody Smith, but in addition, it would also come down to the drivers fighting to get inside the top 4. Jacob Fife is having a good night, but Don Stevenson needs to one-up him here. He's 5 points under the cut line as we speak, and he needs to be ahead of Jacob Fife for any chance to make that work. Tom Wetmore, 9 points ahead, had trouble in 2 cautions, and now finds himself outside of the top 5, which is where all the drivers who are ahead of him in the points race happen to be. Ross Cato, he's an outside shot, but he still has an opportunity to do something here. The Fast Forward Esports number 12 is not out of contention. It's not a done deal for Ross Cato, who's in 7th right now, and that number 12 machine is 7th place with a few more spots to gain if you can just get a good run to get things going. That initial start, once again, it's been the most important part of this race. If you get that jump, keep things moving, that will save you a substantial amount of time. And it looks like right now positions being gained for some drivers back a field. No change for Seth Noel. He leads. Cody Smith second, Sam Nito third, and Jacob Fife then in fourth. Just like that, side by side once again. We've had ourselves quite a few yellow flags to this point. This is the 5th of which, and the iRacing official pace car will come out this time by and hopefully come back down to pit road, give us a chance to develop the racing. Cautions have certainly bred cautions so far, and it's been a continuous cycle. Leaders have gotten away quite well each and every time around, but the rest of the field, that has been the issue all throughout the night. The race for the Cure 250, part of an FTN doubleheader tonight on the channel. It's going to be the Highline Racing League, and they'll be going to Martinsville as well for the Paperclip 100. A lot of racing here at Martinsville. When it comes down to the night, it's going to be all about the track here in Virginia. Half a mile, but it comes quite a lot. You do it lap after lap, and that's when it gets exciting. Restart on the way, 5th of which, and we're back on the move with Seth Noel leading. Coming through, it's going to be Seth Noel first place, Cody Smith then second, Sam Nito third, and Jacob Fife then in fourth. That is your top 4 to this point, and they're going to be separate now by 1 second. Don Stevenson's going to be 5th, Nick Tarbuck is 6th, and it's going to be Tom Wetmore in 7th up on the high side here and fight with push Ross Cato. Cato going to be as desperate as he possibly can be for each and every position. Nick Tarbuck in a similar boat. For Cato and Tarbuck, 2 of the drivers who are far out of the bubble to this point, they need a race victory. With the card count that we have, there's simply no other way to face it. Win or you're out. It's a go big, go home mentality with so little of the season remaining. 2 races. This is the penultimate, and then the season finale. You only have 4 drivers championship eligible, so you just can't rely on laying back tonight as there's another caution. It looks like another one. It's the 6th of which Eric McFarland involved, and the caution flies. The number 33 machine brings out the yellow. This is your 6th caution of the day. Yellow flag out for the 6th time so far. So at the pace we're going, as we've been calculating the numbers, we're looking at about 24 yellow flags, and including our stage caution, which is expected, it'll be 25. Now that's an unreasonable pace to keep on going with it. Of course, those numbers will flatten out as the race gets much better green flag runs, but not optimistic timing, to say the least. Now, take a look once again here with Eric McFarland. Trouble for the number 33. It was a safety yellow flag. And once again, the trouble has not been drivers beating and banging with each other for the most part. They have not been hitting each other, driving each other rough, nothing of the sort. It's been a minor contact, if anything, and multiple times over, we've seen single car spins, safety cautions as we call them, to ensure the drivers do not make contact or involve themselves in a further incident. Safety cautions are thrown to ensure that all drivers are able to get back on the same page and keep things going without further extended incidents. So for all intents and purposes, these safety yellows have done their job, but at the expense occasionally of less green flag racing, substantially less. A lot of drivers come down to pit road this time by. You'll see Eric McFarland is in, Guillermo Alvarez is in, not to mention John Steele comes through this time by as well, and 47 laps in, Seth Llewell remains the leader here. Cody Smith going to be runner-up man, and Sam Nito then in third. First, second, and third as they remain in single file formation. The iRacing official pace car still has control, and it's of course been 48 laps we've seen so far, nearly a fifth of the way through. No, nearly a quarter now as we take a look at the drivers rushing through turns 1 and 2. We'll get our drone camera back live to take ourselves to a virtual track walk here in Martinsville, one of the oldest tracks in stock car racing, dating back over 65 years, and its use case has been seen largely the same. An exciting half-mile circuit with many memories being made. Currently the penultimate race in the NASCAR Cup Series, and the half-mile track is as chaotic as it is sometimes strategic. Now, right now, the strategy we have not seen all too much of on the night, but so far, drivers are getting set up for the longer run up ahead. Less aggressive driving for your leaders, and of course, in exchange for more aggression in the back of the field, Rowell, McFarland, Randy Fiash, you're going to see there. These drivers have a bit more trouble in the back of the pack, and even though the banking is a minimal here at Martinsville, it is visible, and it is useful enough to get down to that bottom side using that low groove, and if you work the low line well enough, you'll have yourself a clear advantage. The middle line can sometimes work too, but usually the bottom side is king no matter when you're racing at Martinsville. That's the way you want to go. As drivers fly right under our drone camera here in FTN once again. You see Nicholas Ward, Guillermo Alvarez go through. It's turns 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Very similar layout, if not entirely identical. They call the paperclip for a reason here, and the fans get to lie on the outskirts of this iconic half-mile track. Martinsville, small in scale, but big in stature. You know it when you see it. It's a half-mile track that, while it might be short, it has big implications, not only on the real-world championships, but here in the virtual realm. And that's why in the Integrity Octane Series, it gets to play host to the race for the Cure 250, the penultimate race of 2023. Taking it back to our main cameras here, it's going to be Seth Llewell leading with Cody Smith once again. How's about we do it one more time as the number 9 machine leads us down and in. Napa Autoports has their number 9 leading once more. And just like that, green flags out for restart number 6. And the caution looks to fly again. It's the 7th time tonight. And that's another troublesome number because Sam Nito's involved. Another playoff contender gets himself involved with the back of the field. Yellow flag flies, and the caution's out once again. This one's been a tricky one to see through. As 52 laps in, the caution is out once more. And just like that, Sam Nito going to be involved. Not to mention Jacob Fife, Don Stevenson, Nick Tarbuck, all there as well. And as the restart got going, the first 2 drivers, of course, get that great jump. They've continue to get there lap after lap. But take a look back right now to the number 2 machine. As Sam Nito once again going to take a spin. We'll find out what caused it here. Jacob Fife going to go down low, tagging the number 2. He'll hold it up to the top of the track, and minor rear end contact. Now hopefully nothing major. It looks like Nicholas Ward backs it down and gets away from Sam. that's still bad news indeed. 53 laps into 250 so far. Some risky racing up at the head of the field and even on the back as well. Cautions out once again. 53 laps into 250. We'll see if the move is to stay out on the track. Looks to be the way for most drivers, as Tom Wetmore now finds himself fifth on a newer set of rubber. Rest of your leaders stay ahead on the circuit. Pit road going to be busy right now. Alvarez is going to stay off of it, at least for the time being. Nicholas Ward likewise. Now Guillermo makes his way in, not to mention Randy Fiash and John Steele all coming down at the same time. And the way things have gone so far, we have not seen a lot of major damage, and of course, that's of course a good thing for a lot of these drivers, but at the same time, that's going to keep this race going with consistent yellow flags, because drivers, even though they've gotten beaten and banged time after time, have the opportunity to return to the track, and that's when tempers might flare. So nothing major in terms of the damage tonight. A lot of drivers having a chance to rebound and reset no matter how hard they get hit. Even though we don't have faster pairs in the Integrity Racing League, it's been troublesome so far in terms of having consistent yellow flags, 7 of which, and this is the 7th restart of the day. 55 laps in of 250. No shortened yellows, it looks like, so we're just going to keep running caution after caution and hope that we can get it back into a longer form of action. 55 laps in with 18 cars still on the track. Anyone who took that first lap under green is still with us here and now. 55 laps in, it looks like playoff contenders remain largely at the head of the field. Sam Nito fades back now into the 14th spot, but most likely he'll be safe to go due to our car count. So Sam doesn't have to worry too much, and Tom Wetmore's been able to charge back up to the top 5, making major gains. For his case, Nick Tarbuck needs to make a few more because Nick needs to win, and so does Ross Cato. Must-win drivers, the number 4 and the number 12 of Cato and Tarbuck. They cannot afford to lose. I mean, if they want to keep on racing for the championship, that's the one-stop shop where they need to go. Victory lane. And even though they have not gotten themselves up there in the podium conversation just yet, minimum opportunity. So 56 laps in, we'll set ourselves back in a racing gear, as it'll be Noel, Cody Smith, first and second once again tonight. Double file this time through with Fife and Don Stevenson not too far back. Top 5 rounded out now by Tom Wetmore as the green goes again. Seth Noel leads us to restart number 7. As they come around this time by first and second drivers, and Cody Smith and Seth Well make it around, and they've got a clear jump right now in guys like Fife and Don Stevenson. Stevenson knows the implication of his scenario. He's got to fight not only Wetmore but Fife. These drivers are all locked in a fierce points battle. Don Stevenson, the first man out as it stands, 5 points behind the cut, and Tom Wetmore is 9 ahead with Jacob Fife only 5 on top of it. Now, Fife has been able to keep himself inside the top 3 now in lieu of once Tom Wetmore and currently Sam Nito, but Wetmore's also there and getting himself into the groove at the same time. The number 51 Tube Tech Chevrolet works way down low, can't find the opportunity that time around, and as they come around at the stripe, 60 laps in, we'll see a little bit of trouble way back. Luckily nothing comes of it. That's Nicholas Ward, and Nicholas right now finds himself 1 lap down, so if he has another opportunity with a caution, he'll be back on that lead lap, so he does not have to worry all too much about how these drivers have been going. As a matter of fact, it might help him to see a bit more in terms of cautions. Back on our way, 61 laps in of 250, hoping to get this one back at full pace. It's Cody Smith, Jacob Fife, Tom Wetmore, first, second, third, and fourth, with Tom, of course, being right ahead of Don Stevenson. Stevenson still rounds out the top 5, and Nick Tarbuck then in 6th. Single file right now and getting ourselves to a longer groove. That's the game plan for the drivers, as Eric McFarland's going to be right there with the number 97. As you see, Nicholas Ward, a lap machine, is still fighting at the back of the pack. Randy Fiash is going to be 17th right now, with John Steele then in 16th. And these two drivers are working at the bottom of your lead lap. They're fighting each other for position. Doesn't matter if you're a leading driver, if you're all the way in the back of the pack. It's all about making time when you can. Right now, for a driver like Seth Well, he's made a lot of time, 0.8 of a second, and he already finds himself gaining more on the gap. That time by for Seth Well is a 19.654, Cody Smith at a 19.796, so about 1/10 of a second goes to the driver of the number 9 machine. Advantage is Seth. Cody Smith going to be then in second. And we got Eden C in chat room rooting on, hopefully, for the number 4 machine of Nick Tarbuck there, hoping he's going to step it up. And right now, 6th place, not a bad run, but for his circumstance, it's a win or a lose scenario, quite literally. You can't go through the final 4 without a checkered flag if you're either Nick Tarbuck or Ross Cato. Ross Cato's far enough behind, 13 points back, where he's going to need a miracle. And even though it's not as dire of a situation with how many drivers we have on the track tonight, he cannot do anything short of winning. And right now, 9th place will not cut it at all. So right now for Cato, he's got spots to gain for what will be his career best finish multiple times over. He's finished 2nd on the tour multiple times. He's been on the podium even more so. But he's got to break through and find himself on a position on the circuit he has not been on all too often, especially in the playoffs. Finding himself in the leading spot, and he's got to be there till the end. Ross Cato, 9th place right now, finds himself there 67 laps in out of 250. Seth Well has that lead. Cody Smith going to be far and away there in 2nd, and it's going to be then Tom Wetmore and Don Stevenson 3rd and 4th. Single file, that's the way they've gone, and after a lot of yellow flags in succession, 7 of which within the first 60 laps, drivers are finally getting themselves back into form, looking to keep racing, longer runs being the strongest of the runs. Right now, tire strategy might come into play, even though we have seen a lot of drivers go down a pit road. As a matter of fact, more than half of your field has gone down a pit road. It hasn't been the drivers up in front. Now, Sam Nito's been on a bit of a recovery tour as of recent. He was as high as 3rd place, now as low as the 11th spot, and 69 laps in. Not at all a nice way to get this number 2 going for the penultimate race of the season. Now, he's effectively locked in. If push comes to shove, he might fade out, but the odds are, if Sam can just keep it where he is right now, he'll be good to go to make it in to the final race of the season as a championship contender. Seth Well is locked in right now and 70 laps in of 250. Here's a look at our point standings going into tonight. You'll see once again who's where as the number 9 machine of Seth Well comes in as a locked-in driver. He's marked in the yellow. Of course, then you got your green drivers, and those are the drivers who come in ahead of your drivers, of course, outside of the cut. Final 4 would currently be comprised of Sam Nito and Seth Well, not to mention Tom Wetmore and Jacob Fife. But Fife only has 5 points of buffer to go back to Don Stevenson, Caitlin Height, Ross Cato, and then Nick Tarbuck. And those 4 drivers, even though Caitlin Height is not here, the other 3 still have a chance, and Stevenson has the best of which. He finds himself right now then in 4th. Stevenson, he's currently fighting as hard as he can to get inside the podium and maybe even go for more. And right now for Don Stevenson, he's been the big spoiler who's been inside the playoffs round after round. Don Stevenson, who came in clutch at the Roval, unbelievable drive there, led 50 laps and came out of nowhere as a road course ace, did the inexplicable and dominated at the very skill-heavy Charlotte Roval. And ever since then, Stevenson's been able to keep on clawing through and now finds himself 5th in the standings, 5 points back on Jacob Fife, and the advantage might come with these bonus points we expect from our one and only stage break of the day. So if these drivers make a difference in the night, the difference is going to come not from the way we've been running right now, but from that stage break. So it's going to give 10 drivers bonus points, most of which would go to Seth Well, which are redundant because he does not need anything more. He's already inside the final 4. The rest of these drivers will either benefit or lose a big time. Number 9 machine of Seth Well puts John Steele 1 lap down that time through Avatar 888, and then there's a 5 at the end, so it's really 8,885. Even the chat as well. Thank you for stopping by. Nick Tarbuck got a lot of support tonight, and that number 4 needs not only a top 5, but really needs that checkered flag. Win and you're in mentality right now for Nick. He won last night and had a great finish there with it, 1,000th of a second, separating he and Cody Smith. And both drivers are in the field tonight, so no doubt that Nick could be a race winner here as well as the caution flies again. 8th time, Randy Fiash's backwards yellow flag is out, 76 laps in of 250. And just like that, caution is out once more. So take a look at what just happened here. So we're going to have Randy Fiash going around. Looks like another safety caution, and he's pushing very hard to get up there to Guillermo Alvarez and his teammate in Jorge Canales. And in this instance, the 84 is ahead of Fiash. So as the instant replay will show you, Randy Fiash goes around. Caution going to be out once again, and Fiash going to be the reason. Instant replay will show you it's going to be a safety caution once more. And the safety yellow flag will bring us back to the yellow flag indeed. 78 laps in, make it 79 out of 250. And just in front of the leaders, that's a big risk. So this caution makes a lot of sense. That was our longest green flag run of the day. Not long in the slightest, of course, about 10-15 laps at the most, but still long enough to get us back into motion. Hopefully, that's a bit more of a sign of things to come. We've had a lot of clean racing all year, and hopefully this does not end up in shreds here at Martinsville and eventually in Phoenix. It's been a great season, a lot of long run battles, great racing throughout. It's been as clean as it can get, but all of a sudden, drivers having trouble as we bring ourselves back under pacing here. 79 in out of 250. Yellow flag flies with now Cody Smith as your leader and Seth Well opting to head down a pit road. And with cautions flying successively, it's going to be our 8th caution of the day in 80 laps. It would be still paced for 25 the way things have gone. Seth Well brings it down to pit road. He'll be not the winner off pit road, as a matter of fact. Guillermo Alvarez gets the jump, and Alvarez is going to lead them off of pit road from Seth Well then to Nick Tarbuck, all the way on to Luis Caballero, Ross Cato, Kyle Cooper, and Eric McFarlane. 80 laps through. Colin Gidman's going to be 12th. Alan Rawell is 13th. And Jorge Canales is then in position number 14. Just beyond then, it's going to be Tom Wetmore now in 15th. Wetmore taking a long pit stop to repair some more damage after his incidents, so he's going to wait a bit more to maybe find out what he can do to claw up later in the going. 81 laps in, so far so good, but trouble's been brewing as Cody Smith leads from Don Stevenson and Jacob Fife. Your leaders have done a great job keeping it clean, but the rest of the field has seen a lot of troubles as 8 cautions in, 81 laps in. There's been a lot of yellow flags correlating with very few green flag runs, and for the next level racing number 18 of Cody Smith, he'd love to have a chance to come home as another winning spoiler here in our playoff system. Winning at Kentucky, then from there, he finds himself leading in Martinsville. It could be another chance at the victory lane for Cody Smith as Don Stevenson goes up top, Jacob Fife is down low, and Sam Nito is then in 4th. And when it comes to, of course, the FORL Cup Series, that is going to be tomorrow night, Shelton. That's going to be FORL's 50th ever race at Watkins Glen. That's tomorrow night at 9 Eastern. We'll put up the link, I think, earlier in the morning tomorrow. We have not had a lot of time day to day as of recent, but it's going to be only one broadcast tomorrow. And that, of course, is going to be the FORL Cup Series at Watkins Glen. So keep out for that. FORL Cup Series once again in full swing as we'll have ourselves another restart, 8th of which led by Cody Smith like a rocket ship. Green flags out. Cody Smith leads them again. Cody Smith leads from Don Stevenson, Jacob Fife, and Sam Nito. That's the way they run as it stands. 1, 2, 3, and it's 3 drivers who were previously in the playoffs or still in it now. Kyle Cooper brings us now to lap number 84 and caution number 9. It's another spin, and the yellow flag is out once again. 9 cautions, 84 laps. The yellow flag is out, and we've had a lot of trouble tonight at Martinsville. It continues here as another yellow flag coming through. So bringing it back to the caution here, you'll see it's going to be Kyle Cooper involved. Looks like Cooper spinning on his own, and a lot of these cautions have been safety yellows. Nothing major when it comes to the drivers being aggressive, but a lot of guys losing it at a quarter exit, and it's a similar theme to what we saw at North Wilkesboro in the Ignite Series. Looks like it's going to be exacerbated here because it's a longer race length, half distance of a NASCAR Cup Series event, and Cooper just had it come from under him. Now that's weird because we looked at it and it looks like it's going to be a very peculiar incident. I mean, he just came up and under, almost looked like he didn't even snap loose at an exit. It was through the middle of the corner. Take it back once again. This is a 40-second replay to show you the entirety of the situation, restart and all. So Cody Smith gets the jump, and that's all fine and well. Then you look at Kyle Cooper, and the overhead shot will show you a bit more when it comes to the incident in question. And looking once again here at Kyle Cooper, you're going to see going into turns 1 and 2, he was all fine. Then 3 and 4, he's going to snap loose. Yeah, he hit the curb. That's the reason that all came apart. And Kyle Cooper brings out the 9th yellow flag of the day, touches the curb, and the caution is out. Live on FTN once again, Cody Smith is going to be in the first position, 86 laps in of 250. Don Stevenson is going to be in second, Jacob Fife is in third, then Sam Nito's in fourth with Guillermo Alvarez rounding out your top 5. Going to be Seth Noel 6th, Luis Caballero in 7th, and Nick Tarbuck then 8th, Ross Cato's 9th, and Colin Gidman rounds out the top 10 with Eric McFarland 11th, Tom Wetmore 12th, and Alan Rowell then in 13th. That's the way they run so far. Head of the field is still Cody Smith, and despite all the yellow flags we've seen, the 18 will not budge. He remains advantageous at the head of the field, 86 laps in, making 87 of 250, and the front runners are still as they were for the most part when this race began. If you guys who have rushed up to the front, if you guys who have faded a bit further back, it's been a back and forth tug of war. And it looks like, once again, this tug of war will favor the big man in the number 18, Cody Smith, for Next Level Racing. The best of the best, the number 18 machine, despite his early exit in the playoffs, has proved even still he's nothing short of high-level competition each and every night here in the Octane Series. And he was able to win his first race as an eliminated driver, just was not able to make it through in our situation here in the playoffs. It was the Charlotte Roval, the cutoff race. He had a disastrous night in Charlotte, and that's what did him in. And then he went on to win immediately thereafter in Kentucky. So certainly no shortage of speed here, but the big issue as it stands has been, of course, working it out for those clutch elimination nights. Coming around this time through, it's going to be Cody Smith, Don Stevenson, and Jacob Fife. Your podium yet again, 88 laps into 250. Here we go. It's Smith and Stevenson first and second as the green flag flies once more here in Martinsville. This time around, troubles do not brew in the back of the field. 89 laps in of 250, and hoping closer and closer to get to that halfway marker. 9:48 here on the East Coast. Racing begins at about 9:05 here in the Octane Series, and we've seen nearly 30 seconds to the lap each and every time around. Now, that's not a bad time at all for most other circuits, but here in Martinsville, a half-mile track, that's an egregious amount of time on average. Now, I'm sure these drivers are going to get it straight. We've had clean racing all season long, but some early troubles here in Virginia that have done us in yet again. So as they come through this time by, Fife is going to be side by side with Sam Nito, the resurgent Sam Nito, who finds himself in fourth, and he's made some big gains here. Take a look at the guys up in front. Cody Smith in the, of course, playoff spoiler contention for a $20 prize at end of day. But second place is a win-in-your-in guy. It is Don Stevenson. If there's anything that he could do right now, it would be to win this race, and it would secure a spot for him in the Final Four. Now, Jacob Fife being right behind him means that Tom Wetmore will be the biggest loser in this circumstance. Wetmore finds himself fighting to get inside the top 5 here, currently in 8th. So if Tom can make up time a bit quicker, he'll have a chance to stay fair. In terms of the racing picture, the Tube Tech Chevrolet goes way down low, and just like that, makes another spot up on Ross Cato. Cody Smith going to be then at 94 laps in, the race leader. Don Stevenson going to be second. Jacob Fife is third, and Sam Nito is in fourth. The final, for the most part, closest battle on the racing circuit looks to be back of the pack right now. Nick Tarbuck, who finds himself now in 11th. He's got to keep on moving here. Not in, of course, great race for him to this point, but things are not all said and done. 94 laps in, with more than half of this race still remaining. Nick Tarbuck's got a ways to go to keep on improving, and the number 4 machine, who knows that, will just have to keep on assessing his situation to find a way to continue improving indeed. Number 4 machine and Nick Tarbuck finds himself right behind Colin Gidman. This is the battle right now for 10th. Gidman has it, and of course right now it comes down to whether or not Nick Tarbuck can go and take it. Has not been able to make that move, but 96 laps in, no major changes. And for Pro Effect coming to chat room, great to have you aboard. Seth Well is currently locked in. As a matter of fact, we're going to type out our overall championship standings in the chat room to keep up with it. These are the standings that went into the race. Of course, going in, we had our picture coming out of our first two here in the round of 8, going into Martinsville. These are how the points looked. So it was Seth Well who was locked in, then Sam Nito comes in, plus 32. He was second on the tally. Third place went to Tom Wetmore coming into the night, and Wetmore comes in with a total of 9 points in. He has a plus 9 advantage, and then going to be Jacob Fife, and Fife finds himself plus 5 on the cut. Don Stevenson is going to be now the man in 5th coming into the night, but he's looking really good right now. So for Don Stevenson, he finds himself 5 under the cut coming into this race, and he's the biggest driver who could make some gains here and now. Ross Cato is going to be the next man to keep an eye on here. Now, while Caitlin Height is not here, it's going to be Ross Cato then to keep an eye out for, because Ross Cato is P6 in the running. He must win. And in addition, it's then going to be our driver, the number 4 machine, Nick Tarbuck. Nick Tarbuck, another driver who must win as well. So a lot of drivers here who are in firm ground, a lot of drivers in the mix who have to have this good race, a few guys who need that must win, and that's your point standings going into the night. So 100 laps in, things have changed. It's a triple-digit night so far, and Cody Smith will lead the way once again. Now we're going to bury the hatchet of shorter runs, and as we say, that caution flies. Kyle Cooper brings that yellow flag number 10. It's going to be the yellow flag for the second time caused here by Kyle Cooper. It's another safety yellow, but still some trouble out of turns 3 and 4. That has been the biggest zone of trouble all night long. Yellow flag is out. Kyle Cooper brings it out again. Let's find out what happened here for Kyle Cooper as the instant replay will show you. It looks like the 73 having another issue here just before we get around the start-finish line. And the back straightaway for Kyle Cooper on his own, 102 laps in, yellow flag out for the 10th time on the day, and you'll see Cooper slide down to the bottom. It's another safety yellow. He does not make contact with anything, but with leaders coming by and drivers still flying through, you just cannot have any driver in that spot with so many drivers still on the circuit. So the yellow flag comes out as a safety precaution, and just like that, 103 laps in, it's another yellow flag, 10th of which, and we just about hit double digits here as 103 laps through. Drivers come down to pit road yet again, and now Seth Well reclaims the race lead with Tom Wetmore second and Luis Caballero now in third. Big changes at the head of the field now as many competitive guys come in. Cody Smith down and in. He makes his way on. Don Stevenson going to round out the top 10 with Jacob Fife then 11th, and Sam Nito going to make up the final man of this big dozen driver crew. And right now, these top dozen have been able to make it out once again. Pit road, nice and easy. Randy Fiash going to be now scored 13th. It's John Steele 14th, and Guillermo Alvarez is going to now drop to the back of the field here. Alvarez drops back. Pit road violation, end of the line for him, and he's going to wade back in 18th. Now gets it going. End of line penalty for the driver of the number 83, and Alvarez now sees the leaders in his rear view mirror. 104 laps in, getting closer to our halfway marker here, and it is Seth Well leading from Tom Wetmore, Luis Caballero, and then Ross Cato in 4th as Nick Tarbuck rounds out your top 5. And the race for the Cure 250 so far, giving us a lot of exciting racing, but in the midst of it, we've seen our fair share of yellow flags. And Martinsville Speedway, no stranger to having those yellow flags consistently, and when cautions come, and they come through often, it slows down that race and the race pace all at the same time. But for Seth Well, he's been playing it out, waiting for this moment, trying to get the beneficiary of extra bonus points. And now the number 9 is your race leader, taking full advantage of the circumstances in play. And just like that, it is going to be Seth Well leading once again, and big gains for Tom Wetmore. It's going to be a seesaw for him, up and down, and now he's there in the second position. So despite all the time that he appeared to have lost, he's waited it out and now finds himself up there once again. Good spot to be in as we come around this time by lap 100. That was your stage caution effectively, but it's going to be mired in a bit of controversy, of course, with another caution. Seth Well leading this time by Cody Smith, according to timing and scoring, is your stage winner. But 100 laps in, 10 cautions so far. Now the big question is whether or not we can find ourselves a long green flag run to wrap off the night. 106 laps in this time by Seth Well will lead around with Tom Wetmore right up top. Let's get the stage 2 in style here. It's going to be Noel with a jump. He gets back on the way. Rocket ship start. Green flag flies. Tom Wetmore not too far behind to kick off stage 2. And the yellow flag is going to fly again, 11th time on the day. Nicholas Ward is backward. Alan Rowell, Randy Fiash, and John Steele all involved. Caution out yet again. And with the yellow flag flying, trouble is going to brew immediately at the start of stage 2. Instant yellow flag, and we'll find out with an instant replay what just caused it. And looking at our overall wide angle, Kyle Cooper giving a shove to Sam Needle to get things going immediately. John Steele got back on the way, and you see Cooper's going to be side by side with McFarland. John Steele goes way high here, and all of a sudden goes up to the top of the track and tries to cut down low, then hits Rawa, which is going to collect Nicholas Ward. And that's an inexplicable one. I mean, these guys drove up to the top of the track here at Martinsville and just did not make the apex. And that's what's going to cause a multi-car pileup to kick off the stage. And once again, 109 laps in, yellow flag is going to fly. Seth Noel leads, Tom Wetmore is second, Luis Caballero is third, and Ross Cato is then in fourth. It's going to be Nick Tarbuck then in fifth, Colin Gidman is in sixth, and Don Stevenson seventh, and it's going to be eighth, Cody Smith. 9th, Rick Canales. 10th is going to be Sam Nito. And then 11th place is held by Jacob Fife with Kyle Cooper, then 12th, and Eric McFarland in 13th. Going to be Guillermo Alvarez in 14th with Randy Fiash, then 15th. Alan Rowell going to be 16th, and John Steele 17th place. 18th and last, Nicholas Ward right now, 1 lap down. All 18 drivers were able to start this race are still on the track despite troubles all throughout the night. It's not over just yet for anyone who able to take the green flag to kick off this event. And 110 laps in, Rowell will come down to pit road with a bit more damage than anyone else substantial on the front end. You'll see notably their left front there going to have a lot of beating and banging to deal with. That Toyota Camry shredded up at the front. So Rowell's night might not be done, but he'll have some troublesome to deal with when it comes to the engine. Could be the motor losing some speed, losing some power, and just like that, maybe your first critical issue of the night, and it only took 111 laps to see it. Despite all the cautions, most drivers have maintained a relatively clean car. Even John Steele right now, who's 2 laps down, he has some creasing on the hood, but nothing as major, it appears, as Alan Rowell. He'll stay down on pit road. Nicholas Ward, 1 lap down, coming back from 10 laps down, and his early troubles have been able to subside as a result of frequent yellow flags. And even though he got caught up in that most recent caution, nothing major for him on that one, so he'll stay out on the track, keep his number 97 Chevy Camaro 16th place for the time being. Randy Fiash is the final man on the lead lap. So far, so good for the number 19. And he'll be able to stay up there with your leading drivers as we're set to get back at it here. Seth Noel, Tom Wetmore, first and second respectively. That's the way they'll go. Lead lappers up at the front of the field. Noel, Wetmore, both drivers coming into tonight who are up at the front of the cutoff for the final 4. And if they can keep it up here till the finish, that's the way it will stay. Noel is locked in. Tom Wetmore just needs to keep it up in front and keep it relatively clean as the green flag will fly yet again now. Lap 113, restart number 11. It's going to be Seth Noel pushing him through with the green flag back out. 11th time today. Seth Noel going to be able to get that jump nice and smooth. Cautions out either way. Big yellow flag. Nick Tarbuck's involved, and a playoff driver finds himself in the mix. And just like that, yellow flag out. Once again, instant replay going to show you what just happened. Here's the caution will fly, and Nick Tarbuck going to be side by side there with Colin Gidman to kick off the restart indeed. Now let's find out what caused this one here as we take a look back and find out the specifics. 114 laps in out of 250. Nick Tarbuck going to be caught up in the mix, and you'll see as they go through this time around, the number 4 machine goes spinning, and he's now all the way down to 15th, the worst spot he's been in all throughout the night. And you see there, Tarbuck gonna slide up top. Nicholas Ward barely able to escape it. And for a driver inside of the fight, not up at the higher spots in the cut line, but instead the lowest driver coming through, losing any track position is disastrous. So if Nick Tarbuck has even an outside shot to still make it in the Final Four, you can't afford to have moments like that on the racetrack. 115 in out of 250. Green flag is out. Nick Tarbuck leading, no longer up in front, and just like that, he'll be way back there in the 14th position as Randy Fiash comes down to pit road yet again. Seth Noel leads him, and it's going to be Noel first, Tom Wetmore second, Luis Caballero then in third. 1, 2, 3 as it stands, and they'll be back on their way, hoping to get back restarted by lap 120. Now, of course, 125, your halfway point. It's taken us about an hour to get to this point so far. Hopefully, it will not be anything longer for the rest of this races. Continuous yellows have kept us in pacing for the good majority of the night. A lot of safety yellow flags, a lot of minor contact giving way to spins, and if any car goes 360 here in Martinsville, the caution is automatically called. You've seen it come throughout the field. Doesn't matter if you're a leader, if you're the guy who's a multiple laps down in last. If you end up spinning, you end up causing a caution. That's effectively been the way things have gone, and with all the yellow flags we've had, largely they've been called by small wrecks, and a caution still out here as they come down with 2 laps to go under pacing. Rest of your field has been able to organize themselves once again. Eric McFarland going to be 13th, Nick Tarbuck going to be 14th, and 15th is finally Nicholas Ward. 117 in, and Ward's going to drop to the back of the pack and let Randy Fiash through. Just like that, Ward's in the back, and Alan Rowell is 1 lap down, looking to get himself back on the lead lap. Maybe next time. John Steele is still on pit road, only 8 laps down, despite how long he's been on pit road. He's been on for 5 minutes here, and thankfully, for his sake, he has not seen the full green flag run on his stay of pit road, because he'd be more like 18 laps down if we had a few longer runs. So 8 laps down is more of a blessing in disguise for him. More time, if any, to get back on the track and maybe keep on competing, as Seth Well, who started this race up in front all those laps ago, is there once again, looking to lead the field to our halftime. There's no break, but still our halftime lap. Come around this time through the iRacing official pace car, drops down the inside line. The Napa Auto Parts number 9 machine going to be leading the way. Tom Wetmore then in second, set to go back at it this time by green flags out, led by Noel with Tom Wetmore not too far behind. And the leader's going to be able to push out in front. No trouble for those guys ahead. Luis Caballero maintains his stuff in third. And just like that, at the stripe, remains the same. The leaders have that advantage. And Luis Caballero gaining big here on this strategy call. Now, it looks like at the front of the field, only about 3 drivers in the top 5 are on that older tire strategy. Seth Well, Tom Wetmore, Luis Caballero all find themselves on older Goodyear rubber, as opposed to the rest of the field here, like Colin Gibbon and the drivers behind him. Ross Cato slipping back now into 6th, fighting with Don Stevenson as Don takes it down low to get inside that top 5. Cody Smith coming there too, and with Cody Smith on the run, this number 18 machine for Next Level Racing gets even closer to the back bumper, trying to make it around. Ross is going to be his next step for success in tonight's event. 121 laps in, where we don't have those incidents. Largely the field is comprised of single file racing, and Jacob Fife, with Don Stevenson having such a successful night to this point, needs to get right back up there. This number 36 machine cannot wait around, and all of a sudden Fife is going to be in a very bad position, 11th place, while Don Stevenson is there in 4th. The gap between he and Don Stevenson, only 5 points. So if Stevenson is able to stay up here while Jacob Fife remains lower in the ranks, it's bad news for Fife and could be the saving grace for Stevenson as they come across the stripe yet again. 123 laps on to lap 124, and Seth Well has been able to settle the score. So far, so good, leading for the second stint of his his night. And just like that, he's got Tom Wetmore in second, Luis Caballero a bit further back then in third, and Don Stevenson is in fourth. Top 5 drivers right now rounded out by Colin Gidman, making it by Cody Smith and Ross Cato, respectively. Cato's now going to be fighting to hold on to sixth here, and it's going to be troublesome on that second group. The low line always preferred here in Martinsville. The banking, as minimal as it is still usable, and if you're on that lower side, you got the clear advantage on the bottom. Low side is king, and that's the way they'll stay. 125 out of 250 at the stripe, making 125 laps to go. It's going to be Seth Well leading, Tom Wetmore second, Luis Caballero third, Don Stevenson fourth, Colin Gidman rounds out the top 5 with Cody Smith sixth, Sam Nito seventh, Ross Cato eighth, and Guillermo Alvarez ninth, and Kyle Cooper then in 10th. Halfway through here in Martinsville, we'll bring you your second promotional break courtesy of our friends at Tango Paints. Tango Paints always providing high quality iRacing paint schemes and liveries no matter your use case with a price you can't beat. Offer started $50 per paint scheme. Check out Tango Paints on Twitter for more information. Once again, caution flag gonna fly as we take you briefly to our Tango Paints promotional break before we come back with 123 laps to go. And coming back to watch this incident in slow motion. Yellow flag out once again. Taking a look at it this time by, it's going to be Nick Tarbuck involved, not to mention Kyle Cooper going around. So taking our wide angle shot to find out who caused this one. Cooper's had a lot of trouble with car control all throughout the night so far, and it looks like Kyle might have been involved as he goes a bit higher into the apex, tries to get going. Contact from Fife will send Kyle Cooper around, and they'll have to split the middle with, of course, once again, that number 97, Nicholas Ward, getting the worst of it, and the yellow flag is out with Nick Tarbuck losing a substantial amount of time again, and one incident is not enough. He'll have himself a second caution is out. 121 laps in, and the yellow flag's flying once more. Even though we've gotten past that halfway marker, we haven't gotten too far past it. So trouble is going to brew once again, as it's going to be Seth Well and Tom Wetmore first and second even still. Then going to be Luis Caballero in third, Don Stevenson fourth, and Colin Gidman rounding out the top 5. I mean, with all the trouble we've had all night long, it's been unpredictable throughout, and the race for the Cure 250 brings us back to the start-finish line with a familiar face up in front. The leading pack has been largely the same. I mean, right now, Seth Well leading. The only other driver who's been able to lead laps tonight has been Cody Smith. So you have that track position. For all intents and purposes, you are the driver up in front. You've got that lead and you'll keep it there. There's been no contention directly in terms of grabbing that lead right back, be it for Seth Well's case or for Cody Smith's case. If Cody had that lead, he'd be able to lead laps. If Seth Well had that lead, he'd be able to lead laps as well. It's almost as if that's the best place to be no matter what. The clean air carrying through, no worry about who's going to punch you into the corner. And it's been the best to be the leader all night long. And for Seth Well, it shows, because he currently finds himself in one of the fastest times on the day. Matter of fact, Cody Smith has that fastest time, a 19.555. So triple fives to the man of the 18 in the decimal places. Seth Well still just about as quick, and over the long run, most likely has been quicker. But we just haven't seen anything more than 10-15 laps tonight. And we have not been able to showcase that long run prowess. And we've seen many good short track races, but tonight just has not given anything as opposed to what we've seen in previous races this season. 28 races of clean racing. This is the most yellow flags we've had all throughout 2023. Not only in addition with the Octane Series, but the Ignite Series as well, and the cautions continuing to pile in, bring us back now for the 12th restart of this event. It's going to be Seth Well, Tom Wetmore, Luis Caballero, first, second, third, as they get set to go once again. Green flag going to fly in the hands of Seth Well. Tom Wetmore still right there too, so who's to say he can't make a shot for it? If he has enough time and enough room, he might just go for it too. Caution going to fly now to pit road. This time by they will go. Going to be Noel Wetmore first and second, Luis Caballero then in third. Top three drivers keep it that way as they go around. This time by green flags out with Seth Noel leading and Tom Wetmore not too far back. As field comes around this time through, no troubles. It's going to be side by side, multiple lanes deep. But double file keeps them going. 116 laps to go. Colin Gidman getting right there with Guillermo Alvarez side by side. And they're going to keep it tight to each other. Nicholas Ward and Sam Nito also right there too. For Nito, he's got to make some big gains here, even though he is all but locked in. Ward goes around, caution flies. And a freak incident brings the yellow flag right back out. Cooper barely gets away. And Nicholas Ward backs it up, puts it in reverse, and gets going. All intents and purposes, another yellow flag brings us back to pacing, and it continues what's been a largely sluggish night here in Martinsville. And the troubles remain persistent tonight. I mean, 115 laps to go, 13th yellow flag, and 137 laps. It's been almost clockwork. Every 10 laps bring us a caution. And really not the way we want to go about it here tonight. But Nicholas Ward, I don't know if it was an inside the cockpit issue, because it looks like it was. Yes, he overcorrected and shot it right back up the track. And that's what brings out the caution here. So yellow flag is out once again. Caution is out. Nicholas Ward involved, nearly collecting some playoff drivers like Jacob Fife. Caution flies, 114 remaining, 137 laps on the day. And Seth Noel leads as we bring it back to our pace. With the caution flying once again, Luis Caballero actually made some gains on that brief restart and made himself a second place contender. All of a sudden, Caballero might be an outside conversation for maybe getting his first win of the season. He's seen Guillermo Alvarez, his teammate, do it before, and when Alvarez got that win, he was able to go on a bit of a hot streak, winning, of course, at Daytona. Podium finish then. He came through at Watkins Glen immediately thereafter and had himself a good start to the playoffs, but fell apart by the time it was the Roval, and that's when it mattered the most. So unfortunately, Alvarez wasn't able to make that hot streak convert into any long-term success. But if Alvarez could have done it, his entire team could have that night. It was a four-car operation, working very well till the end. It was Alvarez, Canales, then it was, of course, Luis Caballero and Victor Avila Felix as well. Those four were able to draft each other to the win in World Center Racing, which gave way to a playoff run for Alvarez and, of course, some big momentum not only for the driver, the 83, but his team as a whole. As they come around this time by Seth Noel, set to lead him again. 112 laps remaining, and Seth's going to come around this time by with Luis Caballero right there too. As the drivers come by, flying around, it's going to be 2 laps to green this time by. Still waiting for the signal to get back going, which will come at lap 142. It's been a troublesome night of racing all night long here in Martinsville. For the drivers, of course, it's been hard to keep on going, but for the viewers, if you want a little more action, FTN has got you covered. FTN doubleheader tonight. It's going to be, of course, at Martinsville as well, the Highline Racing League Truck Series, as they head to Martinsville for the Paperclip 100, which has been extended to 125 laps. We've made 140 so far with consistent yellow flags. The night has gone a bit slower than usual here. 111 laps still remain. As it stands, Seth Noel is going to lead the way here. Number 9 machine is still out in front. Luis Caballero is second, and Cody Smith rounds out the podium as they're set to go back green. This time by 21 laps down, John Steele is back on the track, so nobody's retired so far. No giving up throughout the entirety of the field. No quit as the field is set to get back to green here and now. Noel is going to be your leader. Caballero's then in second. 110 laps to go. Come down to 109. Here we go again. Green flag going to fly in the hands of Seth Noel, and we're back on our way. Power down in Martinsville as we're heading back with 109 still on the board. And it's going to be side by side between Well and Luis Caballero at the line. Advantage goes to Luis, and the number 91 has race-winning pace, and it's going to be an unexpected driver up at the head of the field, looking to claim $20 if he can get this race win. Luis Caballero is your race leader for a brief moment, and he's working that second groove as quick as he can. No stopping Caballero, save for the wall, and then he goes spinning. Caballero goes around, and from his best run all throughout the year, it becomes chaos, and the caution flies again. And just like that, yellow flag for the 14th instance, and this time brought out by your former race leader. Just a race, of course, with a lot of chaos. It's been a leader one lap, and then in the wrecker the next. Just like that, caution is going to fly. Yellow flag going to be out once again. Taking a look at it from a wider angle, you'll see as they go through turns 3 and 4, a little bit of space there between the number 91 and the number 9 respectively. No contact as he comes up the track. Caballero tries to put it in on the exit and then goes around spinning. Seth Well gets away. Back of the field comes through, and you'll see Nicholas Ward be able to avoid this one. Eric McFarland as well. Yellow flag is out once again. Caballero involved, and Seth Well is leading with Tom Wetmore now second and Don Stevenson then in third. Instant replay once again will show you how hard he fought to get off the corner. This is going to be before the lap prior. And we'll show you one more time what it took for that yellow flag to come into play. Luis Caballero involved in this one, the number 91 machine. The reason for the caution, and the 14th time we've been under pacing tonight. That's the way it's gone. It's been a consistent run of caution after caution after caution. But Caballero spinning, Stevenson hitting him, and Don Stevenson sees that Guillermo Alvarez also goes around. It's a big chain reaction brought on by the number 91 with a caution out with 105 laps remaining. In so much trouble all throughout the field. Seeing another yellow flag. I mean, Wetmore going to be second, Stevenson is third, and Cody Smith is then in fourth. And the playoff picture has been largely stagnant in the last few laps, of course, as a result of these wrecks. Tom Wetmore is looking to be solidly in if he stays inside the podium. Same goes for Sam Nito. Seth Noel is already inside of the picture for the final four, but Jacob Fife and Don Stevenson are the big talking point. They're separate by 5 places right now, so if there's anything that's going to shuffle up, it would be these two. Stevenson, a large part of the night, has had the advantage over Jacob Fife, and being inside the podium is just enough right now for a chance to be still alive in the mind of the number 47. Don Stevenson, not done yet. And as he comes around this time by, set to go back racing in 2 laps time. Going to be 101 laps to go when we get back to it. 103 to go as it stands, set to go down to 101 when the restart brings us back to the racing at lap 150. Now a little bit blinking there from Seth Well. Nothing major. Going to be a bit back and forth. Tom Wetmore still their runner-up, and with 103 laps remaining, that's the way they've kept it so far, so good. The leaders have been able to keep it clean for the most part, but a lot of wrecking otherwise, and hopefully those leaders can keep that, of course, exemplary behavior on the track as the norm as we head around once again to get things going. Going to be next time by, we go back green at lap 150, 100 laps to go very soon. You made it this far. There's still a ways to go to finish off the race for the Cure 250, and it's going to be Seth Well with the edge when the pace car drops in this time by. As the pace car drops low, here and now, Seth Well, Tom Wetmore, Don Stevenson, first, second, third. Your top 3 drivers set to get back into motion. This time by, Seth with a jump. Let's go once again. Green flag flies, and Well leads him in for restart number 14. And as they come around this time by, it looks like it's going to be all smooth sailing for Seth Well. Back in the field, tries to keep it going with a bitty beaten banging. Colin Gidman slots down to the bottom side with Ross Cato, then there just behind. Now, it's been a lot of trouble focusing on these battles in the back of the field because most often they've been interrupted by a caution. There's, of course, the leaders we've been looking at, and then there's the guys way back. And with 100 laps remaining, make it now 99. Seth Well leads it with a Wetmore second. Don Stevenson then in third. Cody Smith going to be fourth right now, and he'll try to drop it down to the inside line for a shot at the podium. Down to the bottom, it'll be the number 18 machine for Next Level Racing going through. 99 laps to go, make it now 98, and it's going to be a battle for third now. The Don Stevenson team still within arm's reach. It's going to be side-by-side pushing and shoving, and with this being the case, Jacob Fife is making up time, and Fife might have a chance to get ahead of Don Stevenson the way things are looking. Push comes to shove, Jacob Fife makes that move, and he's going to be right there now with the number 47 Camaro, only tenths of a second right in front of him, and that's going to be another thing to watch out for here. Jacob Fife's got a shot now to make time, and with 97 laps to go, why not begin to go for it? Down low, Cody Smith still looking. Let's ride on board now with the number 18 machine to see what's going on. And riding on board now with Cody Smith, you're seeing on the course hood camera here to find out what's going on above the cockpit, and he's still chasing down Don Stevenson as it stands. Looking ahead, he's only going to have 3 drivers to keep an eye on here. Of course, that's going to be Seth Well, and the caution flies 15 times tonight, and it has been clockwork all throughout the day. Kyle Cooper brings out this one. It looks like Cooper, it's going to be a safety yellow flag. Caution flies once more. Caution out. Kyle Cooper, the cause. Instant replay will show you what in specific led to this happening. And Kyle Cooper being out on his own, it's going to be another safety caution with Kyle Cooper being the cause here. And these yellow flags continuing to fly here, even with 95 laps to go. They've been tricky to avoid all night long, and it looks like Nicholas Ward is the first man to swerve up top. Then Kyle Cooper tries to get things going, and they're going to be side by side. One touch. Cooper gets so loose, he'll come back up the track and find himself all out of sorts. Now, that's a huge loss of time, loss of position, and more importantly, the damage is going to be absolutely noticeable. Now, as opposed to a few minor cosmetic hits before, that is going to be visible damage, and it's going to leave a mark. So Kyle Cooper loses that much more time, fades back into 12th, 94 laps to go, and just like that, it's going to be the race for the Cure 250, all coming down to this. We now have ourselves the last dash ahead, and it's been quite a few dashes in a row here. 157 laps, 15 cautions. The yellow flag flies with Seth Well as your leader. Now, with a little bit of time still remaining here under yellow, 93 laps to go, we'll take you to a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations. 93 laps remaining, and iRacing bring you a special offer, extending it for the iRacing team to the viewers here at FTN. We'll be right back after this brief promotional break courtesy of our friends at iRacing Motorsport Simulations and give you a bit more news about our special offer for the entirety of the FTN crowd.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Coming around now with 1 lap to green. The official iRacing motorsport simulations product has been used for over 15 years by sim racing professionals and real drivers alike to improve their sim racing game and their real racing game at the same time. The premier online simulator extends the offer to join the eNASCAR newsletter here and now. We'd love to have you join the family here at iRacing by scanning that QR code if you want to learn more about all of iRacing's product and their connection to NASCAR and stock car racing as a whole. Coming through this time by, though, we'll look at the racing as Sam Nito is going to be now right behind your leader in Seth Noel. Green flags out for the 15th restart of the night. And beating and banging, going to be a bit of bumper shoving, but nothing major at the line. It's going to be now Seth Noel far and ahead of Cody Smith and Sam Nito there. Colin Gidman going to be 4th, Jacob Fife going to be 5th, and this is part of that time where the cycles begin to shift as a lot of drivers on different pit strategies right now. For Seth Noel, he's been in his run for 83 laps. For Cody Smith, he's been on his for 59. For Ross Cato, he's been on his for 32, and the same goes for drivers such as Jorge Canales, while Don Stevenson and Tom Wetmore are on new rubber to finish off the race. Presumably it is their final pit stop of the night, and with so little time still remaining, I don't think there's going to be any other changes here for drivers like Wetmore or Stevenson, no matter how the remainder of this race goes. 88 laps to go this time by. Don's going to drop down low, trying to make a pass here on Ross Cato. He's got that spot, looks way low. Just like that, 47's got a shot down to the bottom. 87 laps remaining. Tom Wetmore also going to go right there as well. Side by side, they'll slice and dice with one another and bring each other at the stripe with 86 laps remaining. Still fighting amongst each other indeed. Kyle Cooper going to disconnect from the session. Your first and only retiree so far on the day. And Cooper having a lot of trouble here at Martinsville, so unfortunately he's going to have to back off for the night. And it's a shame that Kyle Cooper had all those issues on the day. A lot of them being minor, but they just consistently occurred. And that's going to take you out of a race no matter how much you try to stay in it. Seth Noel leads right now with Cody Smith 2nd and Sam Nito then 3rd. Going to be then Colin Gidman 4th, Jacob Fife 5th, Nick Tarbuck 6th, and Luis Caballero position number 7. Don Stevenson to be 8th right now with Tom Wetmore 9th, and Nicholas Ward rounds out the top 10 with 84 laps to go. That's the way they remain. The race for the Cure 250, 84 laps left on the table, and Seth Noel has been far and away the dominant man tonight. Cody Smith, though, if anyone's going to take it back, would be the playoff spoiler, even at number 18. And Cody Smith continuing to prove if all went well in that first round, he'd be a clear-cut competitor at Phoenix. And even though the Next Level Racing Chevrolet could not make it through, he's been proving even still he is a championship-worthy driver. And running 2nd right now with Seth Noel just ahead. These two drivers have been the only two of which to get laps led on the night consistently. Luis Caballero making a flash or two up there, but otherwise consistency has not been seen by anyone besides our pair from the front row. These guys qualified up in front, and they've been racing up in front, and they consistently keep that momentum lap after lap, no matter what. Now it's going to be Jacob Fife dropping way down low with Colin Gidman being moved up high. Colin's going to end up outside the top 5 here if Nick Tarbuck can have his way. And as Nick looks low, he's got himself a spot on the bottom side. He just has to hold on to it with Luis Caballero coming as well. And it looks like despite the issue for Caballero, he's still there fighting to maybe make it inside the top 5. He's just beyond the battle here for the 5th position. And Caballero is right there looking to make something of it. Take a look on board now with Luis Caballero. As you'll see down to the bottom side, Luis will go side by side here with Colin Gidman as they'll be dead even going down the back straight. Right now, it's going to be a dead-even battle between Luis Caballero and Colin Gidman, continuing to fight with one another here. You'll see that number 91 machine able to make it right back out, nice and smooth, keeping things going. As they come around once again, number 91 still's got the edge in the 6th place. Nick Tarbuck is going to be now in 5th, and it's a good run for Nick Tarbuck, but as we mentioned, Nick needs a race win. He's a win-in-your-in driver in this circumstance. He's far back enough in terms of the point standings where he needs that checkered flag no matter anything else, he needs to win. It doesn't matter if there's a driver outside the podium who gets the win. Doesn't matter if it's drivers outside the playoffs who gets the win. It could be any other circumstance, and that will knock this number 14 out. But it's a win for his sake that will keep him in. So he knows exactly what he needs. He knows exactly what he wants. And the checkered flag is the end goal for this crew that could come home with a second win when it means the most. At the line, it's going to be 5th place for Nick Tarbuck, and still Sethwell, your race leader. 76 laps remaining for your leading man at the head of the field. And still the leader is going to be far out ahead. 0.7 of a second separates Sethwell and Cody Smith. They're first and second as it stands, and they've remained that way. Then Sam Nito is going to be 3rd, Jacob Fife is going to be 4th, and Nick Tarbuck is going to be in 5th, rounding at that top 5 in the number 4. Luis Caballero, position number 6, and Tom Wetmore then in 7th there. Stevenson 8th, Ross Cato 9th, and Colin Gibbon rounding out the top 10. And as it stands right now, the top 10 separate by 6 seconds as they get in a late race groove, and all of a sudden drivers beginning to formulate the run till the very end here with so many yellow flag laps. Now the drivers unfortunately having a lot of time lost on the day, with less than half of this race to deal with, so less than the race expected to see under green. But now as they keep things going in the final run, it's time to execute when you can. If you've waited this far, wasted this much, now it's time to bring it all back together in the last dance. The driver of the number 9, Sethwell, leads the way with 2nd place, then Cody Smith, and 3rd, Sam Nito. Let's take a lap on board with this number 9 machine as he leads the way with 72 laps left on the day. Now coming up on some lap traffic here for Sethwell. Coming up not only on the driver of the number 9 machine, of course there's a Randy Fiash, but John Steele as well. And just like that, working right down low, it's going to be John Steele moved out the way. So is Randy Fiash. 71 laps to go. This time by still going to be led by Seth. And this number 9 team, despite all that, has kept things going. Coming through this time by, it's going to be the number 9 machine of Sethwell. 2nd place is Cody Smith. Sam Nito then 3rd, and Jacob Fife is in 4th. Top 5 still rounded out by Nick Tarbuck, and Luis Caballero still knocking on that door. Keep an eye out for this number 91 machine working off the front with John Steele losing time. 69 laps to go. A nice lead right now for Sethwell. Rest of the field, nothing else has been changed. 69 laps to go. It's going to be Sethwell 1st, Cody Smith 2nd, Sam Nito 3rd, and then Jacob Fife, position number 4. Going to be Nick Tarbuck in 5th, and Luis Caballero then in 6th with Tom Wetmore 7th. 8th is going to be Stevenson, and Ross Cato's 9th with Colin Gibbon then in 10th. Cody Smith, though, for Next Level Racing has been a top 2 driver all night long, taking his racing to the next level to finish off 2023. As we mentioned all throughout the year, the overall season champion here in the Octane Series will win a $2,000 sim rig courtesy of Next Level Racing, as they'll bring to us the highest and most valuable Integrity Racing League season-ending prize in league history. Check out nextlevelracing.com for all information about the iRacing market's leading sim racing performance products, as we'll send you to our first promotional break of the day, courtesy of our friends at nextlevelracing.com. come around now with 63 laps to go. Cody Smith finds himself second in a largely well-run night for those two drivers, Seth Well and Cody Smith, the best two drivers of the field all throughout the way here in the race for the cure. 250 laps of action here in Martinsville have given way to some long green flag runs after a total of 15 cautions in 150 laps. Now, John Steele's going to have some trouble as a lap machine right now, but drivers have gotten into that rhythm where we're starting to see tire wear. We're starting to see drivers see some fall off in their lap times, and we're starting to see a bit more strategy that will come into play naturally as opposed to letting pit road do all the work for the drivers here in this field. So good to see drivers begin to adapt to how the circumstances are going to play out in a natural run as opposed to having continuous stops down a pit road, competition caution after competition caution for a lot of these guys who did not find themselves involved to stop the racing just to wait up and keep things in order. Now, it's no fault to the admins, of course. There's no fault, of course, to iRacing's automated system. But at the same time, these drivers find themselves losing a lot more, not only time, not only ability to race each other lap after lap, but they also lose that opportunity to continue to learn about what's going on race after race in the field. Even though we've seen ourselves continue to have these shorter runs here in Martinsville, it doesn't mean you can't learn from it, but it's a bit harder to do so. So now as drivers get into this longer run and understand where they are and sort of evaluate their position a bit more in depth, they'll begin to understand how they can run this race to the fullest extent to finish it off. Now, Cody Smith is going to find himself inside of the second spot. Sam Nito's third. Jacob Fife is in fourth. And right now with Fife up ahead and Nick Tarbuck there in fifth, no major worries right now for Tom Wetmore as he's ahead of Don Stevenson, and Stevenson, of all the competitors who is still fighting to get inside of the bubble, is behind not only Tom Wetmore but also behind Jacob Fife. Behind Jacob Fife as well is going to be Ross Cato in the ninth spot. Drivers who are behind right now are those who either have no chance of getting in without winning, or the drivers who are in the points race but just haven't been able to make it by on track position night. Nick Tarbuck, of all the drivers who are outside of the top four right now, finds himself in fifth, and even though he's not been able to claw up to the lead just yet today, of all the drivers who might have an outside shot, he might just be the best of which. And right now for Nick Tarbuck, he's still right there clawing back at Jacob Fife lap after lap with 55 to go. It's not over right now for Nick Tarbuck, and for Jacob Fife, it's far from done. This battle is not going to be the end-all, be-all, of course, or the be-all, end-all for this battle for the lead, but it could be a big opportunity for Tarbuck to continue to build up momentum, and if something goes his way later in strategy, it might just be that number 4 looking to knock through with a race win, because right now for Jacob Fife and Tom Wetmore, Fife has the advantage, and it looks like Wetmore is far enough back where that advantage would stick in the case it comes down to a must-win driver getting that absolutely necessary race victory. So Wetmore doesn't have to be worried right now, but if Nick Tarbuck were to grab that race lead and go for 2 consecutive victories in 2 straight nights, then it would be Nick coming through with the win and potentially knocking out Tom Wetmore. Right now, it is no worry at all, but it's a hypothetical to keep in mind here because that could be the switch-up that leaves Tom Wetmore out and maybe brings another driver in that we did not quite expect. Seth Wells still leads it, coming around this time by to put Eric McFarland 1 lap down. Eric goes up top, and Seth, despite the fact tonight has not been all too important to his championship case, still putting on another thrilling show. He's coming alive late in the season even more and more so as of recent. Looking to go for back-to-back nights at the head of the field. Locking himself in is going to be the move, and looking for a race win at Martinsville that has been long awaited to keep these oval runs alive for Seth. Well, big momentum if he can get it done heading into Phoenix next time by. 51 laps to go this time by, now down to 50. It's going to be Seth Noel, the leading man still, and 1.5 seconds back, Cody Smith is coming up at Eric McFarland. And despite the fact that Smith has fallen back to your leader, he's still put together an overall very good run and solid like the rest of the field. The Next Level Racing number 18 still keeps on going. It comes across the stripe, start finish line and all, as your second place man. Third place is going to be Sam Nito, who's firmly inside of the final 4 at that rate, and Jacob Fife, doing all he needs to do right now would be inside the final 4 as well. Biggest jeopardy spot right now is going to be Tom Wetmore as he continues to try to fend off Don Stevenson. And for Wetmore, who had such a strong regular season, he's going to see Wetmore is going to be right in front of Don Stevenson, who spins around And the call is a caution. Yellow flag will fly with 48 laps to go after a longer run. Good to see that longer run come in play. Yellow flag is out indeed, and Stevenson brings it out. Caution flies for the 16th time tonight. And the yellow flag flying here now. Take a look back at what just happened. The driver number 47 machine going to go around spinning, and you'll see as Stevenson stays right there behind Tom Wetmore, trying to find any room, any gap to make it around. He pushes a bit too hard, and it's going to give way to an incident immediately thereafter. Pushing off the corner exit. It's going to be Don Stevenson trying something, gets, I believe, the curb there, and then goes sliding around. So Stevenson going to go around with 47 laps to go, ring out the 16th caution. It's the Don Stevenson crew and the 47. That could be the biggest moment of the night for them. Oh, so close to getting inside the bubble for the final four, and now fading back big as pit road gets busy. Some drivers opt to go in, some to stay out, and Sethwell, one of the many who comes in this time by. Pit road getting busy indeed, and another big cycle with 46 laps left. And now drivers on the way, Wetmore, Sethwell, not to mention Luis Caballero, Eric McFarland also coming through. Pit road as busy as it was, going to bring about only half the field in. A lot of drivers going to opt to stay out this time by, namely right now, Cody Smith, Sam Nito, and Jacob Fife. And for a guy who really needs track position, how about Nick Tarbuck, was not come down to pit road in 127 laps. That's an unbelievable amount of time. And for the number 4 machine, he's still up there just outside of the podium with 45 laps to go. The race for the Cure 250 comes down to a last segment dash. 45 laps remain, and this could be the do-or-die moments here, not only of the race, but of the season for guys like Tarbuck, guys like Ross Cato, guys like Don Stevenson. If you're not ahead of that bubble right now inside the final four, of course you're at a big disadvantage tonight. You're working out as hard as you can, putting the offense on, knowing you don't have a chance to cruise at all, but also with all the cautions we've had, there's a good chance you've been caught up in at least one of them, if not multiple. So for Cody Smith, leading once again, he's looking for the $20 prize for being the highest finishing non-playoff driver of the day. And right now, he held it pretty steadily all throughout the night and continues to do so as the final stretch is upon us. As the field comes through one more time, the Next Level Racing number 18 machine of Cody Smith is first, Sam Nito is second, and Jacob Fife is then in third. The race for the Cure 250 comes down to this. Overcast skies here in Martinsville, a partly cloudy sky of 81 degrees Fahrenheit in the air and 96 on the track. Pretty slick track right now, especially with the longer green flag run that we just got. Just like that, 18 machine of Cody Smith leads the way overall, and it's going to be Sam Nito then in second. Fife is third, Tarbuck is fourth, Sethwell is fifth, then it's going to be Tom Wetmore not too far behind. Coming through this time by 43 laps to go, going down to only 42. The Next Level Racing Chevrolet will put the power back down and get us back into motion. Green flag will fly for Cody Smith, and he'll get it back on the move here and now. Green flag flies for the biggest playoff spoiler all season long. Back on the move for Cody Smith. Smith has the runoff corner that he's going to need. Side by side, further back, you'll see Fife, Tarbuck, Tom Wetmore, and Sethwell all there together. Ross Cato going to be with Nicholas Ward, and Don Stevenson's going to be there with Colin Gidman, and multiple lanes deep, side by side, multiple lanes over indeed, and Ross Cato's right there with Sethwell, keeping it double file. Now, these are the battles that are going to mean the most in the final stages of this race. Wetmore jumps up to third immediately, and this is huge for him. Coming in clutch right now for the driver, the number 51, Two-Tech Chevrolet. That's Tom Wetmore running down the back straightaway, and you can see he's now there in third. Sam Nito second, trying to get that rub off the corner. He can't get by Sam. He'll keep on defending. 40 laps to go. Caution's out again. And Stevenson looks like he's involved, but namely in the back of the field. Guillermo Alvarez also there. John Steele looks like he just caught a piece, and Steele's back down to pit road this time by. He comes in yet again. Alvarez, Hurricanales also there in the back of the field. Instant replay will show you who in specific got caught. As once again, yellow flag flies. 39 laps remaining. Here's the instant replay as they bunch up into each and every corner. It starts in the back of the field, and it looks like, unfortunately, it's going to stay there and get a few drivers out of their spots. And Stevenson's going to get very loose in desperation. Canales is going to then punch him in. Don Stevenson from bad to worse. Another incident for this number 47 team. And Stevenson sees the yellow flag come out once again, and he is the cause. 38 laps to go this time by with Cody Smith leading, and we'll bring it back to another Fireball Talks non-stop presentation. Your ads are going to continue, but you won't miss a thing, as the way we do on it here on FTN with so many yellow flags. I mean, 17 of which, unfortunately, some nights we don't have an excuse. It's been a lot of yellow flags to deal with here. So we'll be right back after this brief promotional break. A few ads are going to play, but you'll have the leader and, of course, your TV feed on the screen at the same time. You're watching Fireball Talks nonstop only on FTN, and we'll bring you back after this brief nonstop promotion here exclusively on Fireball Talks NASCAR.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
And coming back now with 35 laps remaining on the day, Cody Smith is going to lead him through, and we're back on the way here from Martinsville. 17th restart of the night. Back on the way here with Smith moving through, and you'll see Sam Neal and Ross Cato not too far behind, second and third. And with Cody Smith still advantageous this time by Tom Wetmore going to shuffle just a bit, and you'll see the mid-pack has the heart of the field. Seth Well right there, Luis Caballero up top, Jacob Fife, not to mention number 36 is also in the mix too. And now you got your must-win drivers trying to make their way up here. Cody Smith, and take a look at this, 0.4 of a second away. It is Ross Cato, and if this is how it plays out, and if Ross Cato does get that race lead, then it would be Jacob Fife who's out of the picture, and that's of course if execution comes to mind the way it is. Ross Cato's in second right now, so even though he's close, there's still a ways to go here, and it certainly is not a done deal just because he's that near to your race leader. Cody Smith still remains advantageous and has continued his tear as the lone playoff spoiler this season, but Ross Cato with a caution out once again. See the yellow flag fly, the reason Randy Fiash was a lap machine. And the lapper brings out a caution, 220 laps in at a 250. Take a look back and find out what caused it in specific. Yellow flag out once again. Now with the caution out, you'll see Fiash going to lose it for the first time, but that did not happen through turns 1 and 2. So you'll see right now as they go through turns 1 and 2, it's where the real trouble begins. Fiash goes around, and he's going to slide way up the track and that's where the trouble brews. He's going to go way up, then spin it, loop it around, and he's going to hit the brakes and jam it right then and there. And that's going to be a safety yellow flag because the leaders cannot afford to have that on the racing circuit. 30 laps to go, a completely understandable call, and Randy Fiash brings out what's going to be your 18th caution of the day. 29 laps to go this time by, and it's Cody Smith, Ross Cato, and Tom Wetmore. Cody Smith is not one of your playoff guys, but he's been able to hold on very well all throughout the day. And I'll tell you this much, haven't heard from him, though he is effectively also your stage winner. He was leading at the lap 100 caution that we got, and we did not mention that on the stream. But otherwise, he's held on very solid, and a quiet night for a lot of these drivers in the back of the field. Unless they're getting involved in yellow flags, there are some guys we haven't mentioned all too much. I mean, Eric McFarland was involved with the yellow flag early. He has not been involved in much ever since. Alan Rawell got his troubles out early and has luckily kept it out of the wall as well. So some guys have been running nice. A few others have had a few more issues as the day's gone. Of course, more and more yellow flags. We've seen more drivers get involved in the trouble. So that's the way it goes. 28 laps to go indeed. Cody Smith leads, Ross Cato is second, and Tom Wetmore's then in third. It's been 18 yellow flags, and the number 18 leads with 28 laps to go. We're set to go back green at least by the 25 lap to go marker, and that's when we'll see truly who's got what it takes to hold off until the end. The final four decided by tonight, and all 8 of your competitors would have been eligible, but Caitlin Height did not show up today, so it's going to be 7 drivers still fighting for 4 spots. They're all on the lead lap, and they've all got a chance to go through. 18 of Next Level Racing's Cody Smith leads the way with 27 laps to go. Fantastic night for him. But look further back right now to the second place driver in Ross Cato. He finds himself there, runner-up spot, and he's held on with a very good night here for the Fast Forward Esports crew all throughout. Ross Cato looking to execute when it means the most. Execution's been the biggest topic all throughout the season so far for every driver, but Cato's been missing out on that one big attribute, winning these races. He's the only driver still left in the playoffs without a race win at all this year, and the 2023 season has seen multiple race winners, some of which of course not left in our playoff hunt to this day. But Cato, with all his consistency, has been able to point his way into the penultimate round of the season, and now has a chance to push through and execute when it matters most for a first career win in the Octane Series. Does it happen tonight? Does he come through and execute, or will it be Cody Smith holding off as the continuous spoiler of this round? We'll find out this time by as Cody Smith leads him through once again with what will only be 25 laps to go. Here we go again, gonna be 18 machine up top and down low. Ross Cato will go. Green flag at a flag. We're back on our way with 25 laps remaining. 25 laps to go that time by. Cody Smith going to make it through quite easily. Ross Cato right there too. And Tom Wetmore going to be then in third. 24 laps to go this time by. Cody Smith going to be your leading man. And the Next Level Racing number 18 going to find himself advantageous with 24 laps to go. You'll see right there Ross Cato still going to be on the back bumper. And they'll come across the stripe yet again with 23 laps remaining. Still all in tow. The final dash here in Martinsville to wrap out your round of 8, and as always with 22 laps to go, we'll crank it up with the best camera package on the iRacing platform, TrackCam22.com. Check out track cams for Gorman today at TrackCams22.com as we crank it up with 22 laps remaining uninterrupted, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. And the caution's going to come out before our Crank It Up even begins. Yellow flag flies again. Luis Caballero involved. And just like that, Crank It Up going to be postponed. Yellow flag is going to be out again. And the caution's out with 21 laps remaining. And the cautions continue to fly, 19th of which on the day. And the yellow flag being out would go to show once again we've got trouble and it will continue. Caballero just disconnected, so the night is over for this man who led some laps throughout the night, had some strong pace. just could not hold it up in front. Cautions out way down low. You'll see that's going to be a big move for Colin Gidman. Can't find the space. And Caballero gets a loose off the backstretch wall, comes into Don Stevenson. It's going to be Colin Gidman dropping down low, and a caution is out once again. Cody Smith, your leader. Luis Caballero, the main cause of that one, and the caution's out indeed. Now, we're coming up close to 20 yellow flags. That's the 19th of which with 20 laps to go. And the continuous cycle of action and a continuous cycle of cautions plays on again. And now, once more, we're back under pacing. You'll see pit road going to be busy. Sam Nito and Nick Tarbuck going to be both there. And Cody Smith will lead them through 20 laps left. And for the penultimate race of this Octane Series season, this one's not been all too representative of all the great racing we've had throughout the campaign. Of course, starting at Daytona and ever since then, we have not had a race go this long due to a substantial amount of cautions. This is the most we've seen all throughout the season. Regardless of cause, regardless of the reason in its entirety, this has been the most chaotic race of the season, with cautions being almost a non-stop factor from the beginning nearly to the end, and we're not even there just yet. So we're going to find out how it all plays out. Our Crank It Up pushed back here due to the fact we hardly made it out of the first lap of it. That means, well, as always, TrackCam22.com has your back. The highest quality iRacing cameras for cars and tracks, no matter what you need and when you need them. TrackCam22.com has you covered. Track cams for gourmets, over 100 tracking card combinations, combining their content with multiple subscriptions for road, oval, dirt, whatever you need, they have it, and they will have you covered with the best in the business. If you're a broadcaster or a photographer in iRacing, or anyone looking for a fresh start with your iRacing cameras, check out TrackCams22.com for more information about iRacing's most realistic cameras on the market. Final Crank It Up in play. 18 laps to go to find out who makes it into the Final Four. It's been a long night of racing, and now we're going to find out what it will come down to in a very short sprint. I mean, 18 laps and even less now at Martinsville. They go by in just a few minutes, and it looks like we're going to see at least 10 minutes the way things have gone all throughout the night in pacing. Not to mention, if we need it, we'll head into overtime and have ourselves 3 attempts. Now, that's another thing to keep an eye out for. We might just go even longer than this, and, well, of course, the drivers aren't going to be happy about that at all. They'd love to keep things going for a chance to fight for it. Ross Cato is looking to fight and keep himself alive. Ross down low, Cody Smith up top, and they'll be first and second come around this time by with 17 laps to go. Cody Smith, who's been the big playoff spoiler all throughout the round of 8, still has a chance to win, with Ross Cato looking to fight for his own, this time by Crank It Up, courtesy of our friends at TrackCams22.com. Caution will fly for the 20th time today. Yellow flag, number 20, Alvarez involved. And another yellow flag going to bring out a landmark number on the season. Yellow flag out, instant replay going to go to show you what just happened. Caution's out. Here's the instant replay to look at it a bit more, and you'll see beating and banging, middle of the field. Sethwell looks to get away. Wetmore with not a great exit there into the back straightaway, but that's not where the yellow flag begins. It's going to be with Sam Nito and Jacob Fife around this area where things become to get a little bit more troublesome. So Alan Rawwell and Guillermo Alvarez were following here. They're going to run into this battle, and they're going to find themselves in trouble as Nicholas Ward goes around. Then Stevenson's hit. Fife gets out of it. Sam Nito is going to have to push through, and that brings out the caution again. It is the season high of 20, and that's a number we've been dreading to hit all night long, but 20 laps in, Crank It Up has concluded, and just like that, we're back now with 12 laps to go, a dozen laps remaining, and that's all that comes down to here. Ross Cato, Cody Smith, they're still with one another here. Tom Wetmore is in third, with Seth Noel fourth, fifth being held by Colin Gidman, and sixth, Jacob Fudd. Seventh is Sam Nito, eighth is Nick Tarbuck, and ninth is Alan Rawell, as the top 10 is rounded out by Guillermo Alvarez. A dozen laps to do it this time by, and here we go again, as the number 12 of Ross Cato brings them to the stripe yet again. Now with 11 laps left, Ross Cato in the best position to possibly be in right now. And if he were to win, your final four would go as follows. Now, Ross Cato, Tom Wetmore would be in as well. Seth Noel is already locked in, and Sam Nito would also make it. So if Ross Cato wins, Jacob Fife is out. Right now, just about any other circumstance would put Jacob inside the final four. He cannot afford to have Ross Cato or Nick Tarbuck win. And Ross is here, and he's just about as quick as he needs to be with the final few laps in mind. He'll have 9 more laps to complete the job, and if he's made it this far in the season, 29 races. He's gone nearly 29 complete races without a win, and he's been one of the best in the business despite that fact. And now he's got a chance to go for it once more. Coming around this time through, the driver, the number 12 machine, will be in full command. And in this situation, nothing more you can do but keep holding on until the very end. The end might be near, but it ain't over just yet. It ain't over till it's over here. 241 laps in of 250, plus the potential for 3 overtime attempts. So this night is not done in the slightest here, as we'll set ourselves back in motion. 10 laps to go. It's the Fast Forward Esports number 12 of Ross Cato in the prime position to send us back now. Pace car is going to be going off this time by, it's going to be side by side, Cato and then Smith for second, third Wetmore, and fourth place held by Seth Noel. Pace car drops in this time through for an 8-lap dash. Hopefully this time by we get doing green, but all comes down to this point in the season. It's do or die for Ross Cato as he leads him around this time through. 8 laps to go. Sam Nito shuffles. We're back on our way. Wetmore gonna lock up the tires there. Big brake smoke, but he keeps it clean. 7 laps to go. This time by, Ross Cato's got the edge, and it's unbelievable to see this number 12 out in front when it matters the most. Cato knows it's a must-win scenario. He's gotta go through and win if he wants to make it to the final 4. 7 laps remain, and Ross Cato's exactly where he needs to be. Look further back to Tom Wetmore and Seth Noel there too. Noel is locked in. Wetmore is in a great position, but Jacob Fife is in trouble. It's in big trouble. Fife in the wall, inside the tire barrier, and that might be his season. Jacob Fife is destroyed, and the big one at Martinsville ensues. And Fife in huge trouble now. Jacob Fife might have seen his season go up in smoke, and the 36 destroyed. Instant replay will show you Jacob Fife getting involved big, and the caution gonna fly yet again. Now his only saving grace would be if Ross Cato doesn't win this one, and even then Don Stevenson got to keep an eye on him as well. But Stevenson got caught up in the mix at the same time. Instant replay will go to show you a bit more about this one. Yeah, he just dove it deep in there and lost control, hits the wall, comes back up, catches Alvarez. Stevenson goes around for a loop, and now it looks like we're heading to overtime. Pushes come to shove, and this will be it. The race for the Cure 250 comes down to our final set of laps, and Fife is coming into pit road. That might just be it. I think that's the season, if anything. And now Don Stevenson comes in as well. He's 1 lap down and trapped 1 down, which means his chances of getting ahead of Jacob Fife are minimal as well. So now it's going to be Cato and a Wetmore fighting for it. Top Wetmore needs that win for momentum. Ross Cato needs it for a fight for the championship to still be alive. It's do or die die time in Martinsville, and with 4 laps to go, it all comes down to this final restart, 21st caution, 21st restart of the day. Now come around for Ross Cato and company. It's Cato leading, Tom Wetmore second, Seth Well third, and finally for Cody Smith, Next Level Racing running 4th as it stands, fighting up in front all night long, and the final Next Level promotional break of the day will get it out of your way here with 3 laps to go. For high quality sim racing performance products that dedicated sim racers deserve, it's nothing but the best at nextlevelracing.com. Check them out after tonight's broadcast. We bring you your final Next Level promotional break of the day. This time by, Cody Smith finds himself just outside the podium in the most important run of the season. It's going to be a 2-lap dash, and this is your first overtime attempt to find out who's going to make it into the final 4 and who will not. Cody Smith going to line up in the second row right now, and Ross Cato, who's in first, has that high side. He needs to make it in with a win tonight to make it to the final 4. It's do or die time now, and a checkered flag is all he'll need to make it right back up there. Ross Cato going to be first, Tom Wetmore is second, Cody Smith is third, and Seth Noel is fourth. Cato, no matter what, needs a checkered flag, and it is for Tom Wetmore. Momentum huge if he pulls through for number 6. Cato gets a huge jump this time by overtime attempt number 1, back on our way with 2 laps to go from the paperclip. And Ross Cato's got to run, but there's going to be trouble back in the field. Do they call it? It looks like they will not. Randy Fiash going to go sliding. He does not go spinning, and it'll be good to take it to the final flag of the day. The white flag. Checkered flag's up next, though, and he's got to make it there as well. Ross Cato finds himself now with 2 turns remaining as your race leader. Drivers thundering around him, and for the driver who needed a win going into this race to make it to the final 4, he will get that win. More wiggles, but Ross Cato perseveres. First win of 2023 and 29 races of waiting. Ross Cato wins from the virtual Martinsville Speedway. Checkered flag and a clutch performance. Cato, welcome to the final race. And for a driver who's had to wait all throughout the season for an opportunity to do just that, victory suits Ross Cato well as he begins his celebration here in Martinsville. A moment this man's been waiting for all throughout 2023, knowing how much pace he had, knowing how likely it would be that eventually this moment would be a reality. Ross Cato, the number 12 for Fast Forward Esports, continues to burn out right alongside our drone camera. And when you win it like this, when you win it with these stakes, no reason not to celebrate. Ross Cato continues the celebration, takes it for a lap around the track, and just like that, the number 12 is a race winner here in Martinsville. Let's get your official race results before we finish off our tabulation to find out who's officially going on to the final round and the final race of 2023. And looking at our official timing and scoring, going to show you Ross Cato wins over Tom Wetmore in second and Seth Noel in third. Those three drivers all qualify for the final four according to our tentative calculations. Then going to be Colin Gidman fourth and Sam Needle fifth, with Nick Tarbuck then in sixth, Alan Rawell seventh and Eric McFarland in eighth. Going to be Cody Smith ninth and Randy Fiash then in 10th. And to round out the field, Jorge Canales going to be 11th, Jacob Fife going to be 12th, and it'll be Nicholas Ward in 13th, Don Stevenson 14th, and Guillermo Alvarez 15th, with Luis Caballero 16th, John Steele 17th, and Kyle Cooper then in 18th. And a win in the clutch, there's nothing quite like it. And tonight for Ross Cato, if it's going to be a do or die moment, you might as well do so you don't have to die. It's as simple as that for the number 12 Ross Cato, and he does it. It's easier said than done, but tonight he pulls it off when it matters the most. Amidst all the chaos and all the attrition here in Martinsville tonight, yellow flags galore, you find yourself in the perfect position to come through. It's been 29 weeks of waiting. And tonight, Ross Cato, you are an Integrity Octane Series winner. How do you feel after this one?
My goodness, what a roller coaster of emotions at this just wonderful, historic paperclip, this Martinsville Speedway. It was very frustrating for much of the race. Made a pretty good call and kept my my patience, or should I say, what was left of my patience about me, and was able to make the right lane calls for the restarts and just kind of keep it pointed forward. And I just, even right up until the very end, I just didn't know if this was going to happen. But what an absolute relief, especially for a race that was just so tumultuous and frustrating and, dare I say, agonizing. Finally in victory lane, I am just so elated right now.
And getting it done when it matters the most. I mean, this is a do-or-die night for your crew. The number 12 machine needed this. Being, of course, outside the bubble and a substantial margin, there's no other way to come in besides that checkered flag. The win, and you make it in. So how was it with the final laps and all that pressure with such a hard-charging field right behind?
Well, I was trying to figure out who was going to be on what kind of tires, and I did notice that some of the drivers throughout the race, not including myself, were able to work the higher groove a lot better. It was very frustrating to only be able to run just one kind of surgical line and not be able to make gains the way other drivers were. I was just focused on hitting the same braking points that I had been. Actually, my fastest lap of the race was coming to the white flag. So when I wasn't in traffic, I could really gain a lot of ground. And that was the most frustrating part, was just being in traffic. And with it being so hard to pass, being out front, it was just such a relief to finally clear Cody Smith and to have that clean racetrack in front of me. So, to sum it up, it was just being able to just kind of run my own line and braking and throttle markers without having to worry about traffic.
And with that clean air right ahead of you, no worries in that regard. And coming through in the most important race of the season for you, now the stakes are even higher with one more left on the table. This team has been quick in intermediates before all throughout the year, and now getting such a boost of momentum, winning just behind you. What's it going to take to maybe come through with a championship next week to finish off the tour in the Octane Series?
A lot of practice and trying to figure out how to just best these guys incrementally. I'm pretty sure Seth has made it. I don't know who the other two are, but we got some really all-star drivers in this league, and I just really need to work on hitting the smooth, rhythmic aspects of Phoenix, and manage those tires well. Be mindful of the temperatures, and just really take care of that right front and that right rear. And hopefully we can put on another good show. And hopefully I'll be the proud owner of that new Next Level Racing rig, and with a championship under my belt.
And looking to come home with the championship in just a week's time, Ross Cato puts on the walk-off performance of the year, winning here in the virtual Martinsville Speedway. Any final thoughts to wrap off this night?
Yeah, thank you so much to the broadcast. Thank you so much for the league owners, for our competitors tonight. Thank you for my friend and teammate Galen Gidman for helping me out with some information about other drivers. And just being a good friend as always. And most of all, thank you to my wife. I dare I say, I feel like I've just gotten a little better at iRacing after we got married. Maybe it's just some kind of psychological thing or what, but she brings out the best in me, and I guess that's applying to racing as well. So thank you to my lovely wife, Lindsay, and let's go get it done at Phoenix.
Looking to get it done in Phoenix 1 week until Ross Cato goes back to fight again. It's going to be Cato winning here in the Race for the Cure 250. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Everybody have a good night.
Now with Ross Cato on the move, race win for Cato going to lock him in. But for Tom Wetmore, he's been the big man all throughout the season in terms of race victories. And it's no doubt this number 51 locks in as well. Second place for Tom Wetmore inside the Final Four. And you're just able to come home with a solid podium to lock yourself in. Even with a new race winner, no jeopardy, finishing in second. How do you feel?
I feel like we got in here by the skin of our teeth, Dave. We came in with a 9-point cushion to the cut line and knew that it was going to be close. But when there was an early accident that sent us to the tail there at the bumper of the car behind us, we weren't as confident as we started and lost a little bit of our margin at the stage. So to come across P2 certainly feels indicative of the speed we had in this Tube Tech Chevrolet tonight.
And all the speed you've had, not only tonight, but in the season, culminates to a Final Four finish tonight. It was up and down for this team, as you mentioned, seeing some runs in the back of the field, a few laps there, but overall, maintaining in the top 10 and keeping it ahead of main competitors to get inside the Final Four. So how was it managing the point situation alongside the normal racing, even though we had a lot of yellow flag laps in between?
Yeah, that's a great question, Dave. I mean, knowing the point situation coming in and doing some quick pencil chicken scratch coming out of the stage, we knew if we stayed within a position of Fife and then 2 or 3 positions of Don that we were likely going to be able to point our way in. What I certainly didn't expect is Galen as well as Ross and that whole Fast Forward Esports team to come through and pull out a surprise win. That put us as the bottom guy on the totem pole coming in. So fortunately, we were able to finish ahead of Jacob and Don tonight. They've been amazing competitors all year long. But fortunately, the protection of Robin Steele attorneys at law kept us protected from the big mayhem, and we were able to bring it home.
And looking to keep things going, bringing home another podium finish. 1 week left. Phoenix, you've been one of the best all season long. 5 wins coming in. What could it take to go for number 6 and a chance at a championship prize to finish off 2023?
And it would certainly mean a lot, and special thanks to the boys over at Next Level Racing who put up quite a prize for us this season in the Integrity Racing League, putting together what could be a full new sim rig for this Tube Tech Roadhouse Esports team. Would be pretty sick. So I got a feeling after the competition with Sam, Ross, and Seth, it's going to take a win in order to take on that big prize, and so we're going to have to put in some practice laps this week, Dave.
And looking to keep up, practicing for Phoenix. Another solid finish for the Tom Wetmore team. Second place on the day here in Martinsville. Anything more you'd like to add?
Just got to give an awareness. It's the month is October, and for a few of us in the field, we have friends, family who have been affected by breast cancer, and just want to give a personal shout out. If you're out on the broadcast and are currently going through that or have gone through that with you or a loved one, naturally it's a whole month dedicated to that, and if you were to follow Don Stevenson car tonight, you would notice that car is typically pink in fashion, and that's the color you should be rooting for in the month of October. So special shout out to those folks who may be going through it, and well wishes to everybody.
And a special month here in the Integrity Octane Series. In October, as you mentioned, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The Race for the Cure of 250 comes to a close. Tom Wetmore finishing second. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dave.
Tom Wetmore on the move. One more driver on the day, Seth Noel, third place and already locked in, but another top 3 finish, and the podiums keep on rolling, not to mention winning the third bracket of the 2023 season at the same time. So taking home some good momentum once again. How's it feel after a chaotic night in Martinsville?
A little disappointed we didn't win. Situationally late, we just kind of got stuck on the top with the tire situation. But we made the most of it, got a nice P3, move on to next week. Hopefully we didn't piss anybody off and try and go for a championship.
And capitalizing, of course, with that early lock-in. So tonight didn't mean all too much in terms of where you be inside the top 4 or not. You're already finding yourself in there. So what's it going to take, of course, with that mindset in play for Phoenix? And also, looking back on tonight, how was it racing with a different mindset, of course, knowing you're already in?
Honestly, I didn't like it. Especially those late race restarts. You just had to be that certain level aggressive that there are certain situations I probably should have been a little bit more aggressive and less lenient, but it sets us up better for next week, hopefully. And I will see how next week goes. Phoenix is the weird racetracks with the next gen, so we'll see how that race plays out.
And hoping, of course, to look at Phoenix as an opportunity to win the championship. And, of course, with a lot of momentum for this team, there's been a lot of buzz about these Final 4 drivers, of course, all in here for respective reasons. And they're the best of the best in here, Final 4. You're in it, and it's going to come down to Phoenix. So what's it going to take to capitalize on the night with only one more race remaining?
Lead all the laps. That's about all we can do. Just try and control our own destiny all night. Start on pole, that's the first thing, and then just control the race.
And hoping to stay in control throughout the final night of the season, just a week ahead of us. Seth Noel locked in, and a third place finish here in Martinsville. Anything else you'd like to add?
Congrats, Ross. He's been close a couple times. I know me and him were having a close battle for the last caution at Michigan. So he's been close a couple times. Cool to see him get his first win of the season. Shout out to all the playoff guys. Didn't seem like we had any drama tonight, which is good. There was a lot of cautions, but we ended up having a nice solid green flag run there for the middle portion. Appreciate the Nexus boys as always, and David, you doing the broadcast.
And there we have it, third place on the night here in the race for the Cure 250. Seth Noel posed the number 3 position in the number 9 Chevy Camaro. Thank you for your time.
I appreciate it, David.
And just like that, on the move, it's going to be Seth Noel's number 9, the third place driver, with Tom Wetmore second, and a walk-off win for Ross Cato in overtime, 253 laps, and the checkered flag is his. A thrilling night all throughout here in Martinsville. But to tell you this much, we got to wrap this one off. It's been a long night here in the studios, and we're finally getting the shot to sign off for the day. Next week, going to be the Octane Series finale. Keep an eye out for the most important race of the season. 4 drivers in contention. It's going to come down to Ross Cato, Tom Wetmore, Sam Nito, and Seth Noel. Those are your final 4s. We'll say hello to one more week of racing on Tuesday night. Tomorrow we'll have the FORL Cup Series live at Watkins Glen. That'll be an exciting show as well. It's been David Croy commentating and producing all night's action here at Martinsville as we say goodnight from the Race for the Cure 250. Thank you all for your immense support. If you enjoyed tonight's stream, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And for our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation of the Integrity Octane Series. Thank you all for watching once again, and we hope you have a great night.